efficient and with equity to the patients. Electronic prescription is e-prescription is process of electronically generating and sending prescription order so that physicians and other medical practitioners can transmit electronic prescription to pharmacy directly from the point of care, and this is the most efficient way to prescribe medication, and it improves the accuracy, enhances the patient's safety and quality of care because you don't have to write, there is no handwriting in it, and so it reduces the risk of errors related to incorrect human interpretations. And we are going to all our hospital is going to be digital, especially the all due course. It is not on the hospital, even the office system will be totally digitalized. And we have a MS medical superintendent who is very enthusiastic about the digital health, and shortly, though we have got a HIMS hospital management information system, but that is not robust. So shortly we will have a HIMS, which will be very robust, and this will have modules for EMR, electronic medical records, and e-prescription. Telemedicine is another frontier. It is offering remote medical services using telecommunication technology to provide all kinds of medical, diagnostic, and treatment related services, usually by doctors. And during the surge of COVID-19, there was a true crisis and need for expanded access to healthcare, and which were rendered by the telemedicine in an ideal way to the masses. And Government of India, Ministry of Health and Welfare launched a national teleconsultation service. In fact, our country was the first to launch a national teleconsultation service in the form of e-Sanjeevani OPD. And during COVID pandemic, when our OPDs were not operational, we were providing teleconsultation to the patients through e-Sanjeevani or e-Sanjeevani portal and of the National Teleconsultation Service. So this is a safe and structured video-based clinical consultation between a doctor in a hospital and a patient confined to his home. And I told you we have been providing, and it is still continuing. Aiims Bilaspur intends to extend its services to remote and tribal areas and of Himachal Pradesh by this low-cost telemedicine platform, and we have already signed MOUs with the district administration of Chamba and Lahaul and Spiti, and we will provide the telemedicine services or teleconsultation to the patients living in those remote and difficult tribal areas. Aiims Bilaspur has also signed a MOU with the IIT Mandi, and in collaboration with IIT Mandi, we are developing new technologies to assist in healthcare delivery. HIMS telehealth apps, we are developing some apps. This AI-based image analysis for screening of anemia, digital nose for diagnosis of diabetes and anemia, hospital-based navigation system, and smart waste disposal system or smart bins. Though we are a budding institute, but we should not forget that we are also an institute of national importance, and to justify it, we are working hard to move along with time. And the first step towards adopting any new technologies, you need to have a infrastructure in place, and we are having our dedicated internet design. In addition, we are committed to provide services to our patient and providing affordable internet through. We have established additional dedicated Wi-Fi hotspots under PM Vani. This is a Prime Minister's Wi-Fi access network interface, and we have a distinction of second age Amongst all Aims, we are the second one who established the PM Bani's service to the patient. Government is pushing the Ayushman Bharat Digital Mission to support integrated digital health infrastructure in the country, and government is also trying to provide navigation in the Aims hospital through PM Bani, which is a very beautiful use of artificial intelligence. And we have also introduced artificial intelligence into our MBBS curriculum, but we feel that we need to offer it at early stage, maybe in the first year itself, so that our students become equipped with the digital health and innovative mindset as early as possible, and that will help them to understand and reflect on how digital health could be implemented in their clinical course that will be taught to them in due course of time. In future, we will adopt a drone-based technology-based healthcare delivery system. We have got a helipad here that is for providing any ambulance services and bringing patients from remote and difficult areas. Given the significant shortage of health workers, the application of artificial intelligence to healthcare could be potentially reduce some of the burden of overloaded health staff. I encourage faculty and students to take full advantage of the facilities available and perform to their full potential. I assure that administration will provide all possible support in their all endeavors. As a prospective participant, please take some time out to learn about the artificial intelligence through the CME, our institute, and I will be pleased to interact and correspondent if you have like to know more about it, us and collaborate with us. And the last, I congratulate Dr. Nidhi, HOD Anatomy, and her team for taking the initiative to organize this CME on this very vital topic. And I wish all the success to this CME. Thank you once again. Yeah.
Thank you, sir, for very informative talk. Due to some unavoidable circumstances, Director IIT Mandi, Professor Dr. Lakshmidhar Bera sir has not been able to attend our CME. On behalf of Director sir, Dr. Arnav Bhav sir, faculty from IIT Mandi, will join online to deliver a talk. We welcome you, sir. Dr. Arnold Clarkson, sir, presently working as Associate Professor at IIT Mandi. He has done PhD from IIT Madras and worked as postdoctorate at GE Global Research and University of North Carolina, Chapel Hill. His area of research involved machine learning, deep learning, application to medical image analysis, computer vision, and biosignal processing. He has also been involved with various projects funded by government as well as industry. He is the recipient of DST Inspired Research Grant and a member of IEEE. Today, Sir will enlighten us on the topic Artificial Intelligence in Medical Image and Signal Analysis. I request Dr. Arnold Clarkson, sir, to kindly share his presentation.
Good morning, everyone. First of all, let me thank the director and dean Aiims Bilaspur and Dr. Nidhi for inviting me for a talk. So thank you for that. So, in fact, I completely agree with what the dean said just now. I can clearly see that Aiims Bilaspur, has a very clear vision to include, and develop, AI-based, capabilities along with, healthcare technologies. So I think this is indeed very visionary, and we will be happy to partner with Aiims Bilaspur. In fact, we are already having some initial efforts. I will And with that, I will begin my talk. So I'll be sharing this screen. Okay, is my screen visible?
Yes, sir, your presentation is visible.
Okay. Okay. So, what I will cover today is, a high-level perspective on, AI and machine learning applications in medical image and signal analysis. So, I think all of us know that, images as well as signals both are very important modalities in terms of screening and diagnostics. And without going into too much details on the method, my focus would be to cover, a broad bouquet of, ideas and applications, and just a glimpse of what kind of rigor or what kind of, approaches are used in AI, particularly in the upcoming field of deep learning. I'm sure many of you would have heard about Chat GPT, and we will cover something on those lines, in a couple of slides today. So, so this is the agenda for today's presentation. Yeah. So to start with, so AI has, like any other area, AI has taken the healthcare, domain also by storm, and it's showing very promising applications in various, tasks in this complete area of healthcare. If I were to, differentiate different popular tasks related to, AI, so these are, can be categorized into, the following. One is
Sir, you are not audible right now.
I'm not audible.
Now you're audible. So can you increase a little bit of volume?
Yeah. What I'll do is I'll bring my, microphone closer. Is it better now?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
So presentation is yes, sir.
Yeah. Right. So I was mentioning about the different AI related tasks. So one is classification, which is about identifying normal versus abnormal cases given any kind of data. It could be images, it could be signals, it could be clinical data, etc. Again, there can be categories of abnormalities also. Right? So we can make it more fine grained. Then we have segmentation and localization. This is particularly related to images as well as signals, that if a particular part of image is of interest, say, but locating certain pathologies, lesions or certain ROIs, right? Then there are various AI-based methods. We will see some examples which talk about locating these regions. Right? And finally, this is a fairly upcoming area of reconstruction and enhancement. This is meant to improve the quality of data, and the diagnosis could be AI assisted or could be manual. But the important point here is that if my data is improved, and we will see some examples for that, even a manual diagnosis can be benefited. Right? So, like I said, the benefits for the community are are better throughput. So we will cover some examples in case of, say, digital pathology, where these methods can enable better efficiency, better throughputs of handling large amounts of data. Then we have objectivity. This is particularly important because it is often experienced, with all due respect, it is often experienced that different doctors have different ways of diagnosis, depending on their experience and so on. So and because of these, there are certain differences. Right? So what one of the benefits of AI is that you take one method here and you can easily reproduce that method, right, and give you very objective sort of, assessments. So that is another benefit. And finally, like I mentioned, the quality improvement of data, which can benefit both manual diagnosis as well as AI-based diagnosis. Again, like I was saying, AI has seeped into various application areas, and some of them that I'll be covering here include digital pathology, radiology, and in radiology, of course, we know that there are various modalities, such as MRI, CT, ultrasound, etc., etc. Even in MRI, there are different modalities such as structural MRI, functional MRI, and so on. Next, we also deal with a lot of biosignals, which are used for measuring neurological conditions as well as physiological assessments. And finally, we have external clinical observations. In fact, this is quite an upcoming sort of area from an industry perspective, because of one factor, that the data acquisition here is quite easy. For example, these days a lot of mobile-based solutions are coming up, which simply look at external data such as images of eyes or skin or speech samples, and so on, and algorithms can be developed to assess these. Right? So today I'll be mainly focusing on the first three. I'm not so much focused on the last one, but like I said, from an industry perspective, the last one is quite coming up in a big way, simply because the data acquisition is relatively easy. Okay, so let me start with applications in digital pathology. So this is like I said, my whole presentation will have a lot of images, right, and very little text. So I'm going to cover a very high level picture of AI application. So this is some of our earlier work, and as I was saying, AI can be used in in analyzing pathology images at different levels. So for example, the top right is essentially the histopathology, image analysis. This is for breast cancer screening. So this is a classification task that I was mentioning, differentiating between benign and malignant cancers, and even different gradings of malignancy. Similarly, we've done a project with Aiims Systems. This is the startup company in Bangalore. This was some time back, and now the company has grown. This was on developing, a screening platform for cervical cancer screening on Pap smear images. And here our role was to develop the software for the hardware which the company was actually developing. So the software equipped with the algorithm to again differentiate and grade between normal Pap smear as well as anomalous Pap smear was developed by IIT. We've done some research work on publicly available data on HEP2 fluorescence imaging. This is an example of a multi-class classification problem. So here we are trying to differentiate between 6 different categories of say imaging biomarkers on pathology, which essentially are related to autoimmune diseases. So this was so one good thing that has happened over the year is that because of the resurgence of AI in medical applications, a lot of data is being available publicly. So people are collecting, hospitals, labs, etc., etc. They are collecting data and they are giving it out for research. And because of that, that is another reason why this area is growing so much. And finally, in this case, we were also looking at the chromosome level. So this is a project which was done with INMAS DRDO. They were interested in identifying what are known as dicentric chromosomes. So this is the example of a localization problem, that in this image, can you, of course, this image is quite bigger. I mean, on this slide, I'm showing it smaller. So in this image, can you identify abnormal chromosomes, which are very rare in nature? So in the whole image, there may be 1 or 2 of such cases. So these are possible cases of say radioactive exposure, because of which there are differences in the chromosomal structure. So this was some work done with INMAS DRD. So this is, like I said, a bouquet of problems in digital pathology ranging for classification, localization, and at different levels of analysis. So it could be tissues, it could be cells, it could be chromosomes, and so on. And now, very upcoming area in digital pathology. This is some of our recent work about a couple of years back. Is what is known as whole slide imaging. Now, the earlier cases that we've seen, those are parts of a larger image. So, for example, the histopathology image that we see here, the top right, those are sections of a larger, sections of larger images. The image itself, when we digitize a slide, and we don't want to lose the resolution, so we will digitize it at a very, very high resolution. And these images are far bigger than what we typically capture from our cameras, right, or our mobile phone, right? Our mobile phone images may be a few megapixel in size, right? The size could be 1000 cross 2000 or of that order, right? Now, these images are of the size, 1 lakh cross 1 lakh. So these are called gigapixel images. And this is where the idea of efficiency comes in. So, for example, if a pathologist has to browse through the image on the screen, each image will have, thousands of ROIs, and the pathologist has to browse through all those ROIs, right? Now, what AI can enable is basically different kinds of approach. For example, we can take a pyramidal approach, where the regions with possible abnormalities can be identified at a lower magnification, and then you take the digitization of higher magnification only for those regions. So that is one way to do it. The other is, in these AI-based techniques, there are powerful approaches to visualize and interpret, abstract level, attributes of the image. For example, in the right side that you see certain kinds of attribute maps, right? So I'll not go into detail, but these are attribute visualization, which tells us, what parts of the images are more important, say from a discrimination point of view. So, for example, if you are differentiating between normal and abnormal, images, if you have lots of data, then the AI algorithms can learn which parts of data are important for discrimination, and then we can actually learn very compact representations, on these parts. So this will help us, reduce the data significantly and process the data, far more efficiently, because this area of whole slide imaging or gigapixel imaging is one challenging area where the efficiency is of very crucial importance. So there are ways to filter out, data, and once the data is filtered out, then of course we have to be the challenge is that we need to ensure that useful information is not filtered out. So that's where the AI research is progressing. Of course there are errors, and we are trying to improve upon those errors and so on. So this is one very interesting application of whole slide imaging. Now moving on to radiology application. Again, I'll enhancement, right? So enhancement of lung CT or 4D CT. So here the idea was that to increase the acquisition time or to reduce the scanning time, we reduce the number of slices, right? And because we want the patient to be inside the machine for a less time to reduce the radiation dose, and because in CT there are important radiation dose concerns. Right? So we end up taking less number of slices because 4D CT is a time consuming acquisition where the radiation is also typically more. Now, because of this reduction in the actual slices, the resolution is poor, and the challenge is that can you take that low resolution data and do some sort of enhancement using AI based techniques. So this done with the bottom one is some collaborative work done with PGI Chandigarh, wherein we were interested in looking at cases of knee cartilage assessment. Again, this is towards progressive assessment of arthritis, right? In arthritis, typically the cartilage damage is happening, and because of that, we want to assess at regular intervals. So the colored parts that you see are essentially the segmentation parts of the of the cartilage. So that is done using in an AI-based algorithm. Similarly, on the top, you see examples of CT angiography, and this work is related to plaque segmentation. Here, the challenge was that the plaque can manifest in different sizes, different intensities, different shapes on the CT angio contrast, and we want to develop an algorithm which is robust to these variations. Right? And so that was the important aspects here. So so basically the idea in discussing these things is to also highlight certain challenges that when we develop AI algorithm, the data that we have has many variations, and we have to take care of all those variations in developing the algorithm so that errors are minimized across the variations. This is another example of enhancement. This is again some of our earlier work. Here the idea was to enhance low magnetic field environment, say for example a 1.5 Tesla image or a 3 Tesla image, right? Because typically high magnetic field scanners are costly, right? Not all hospitals have that. So this was there was a bunch of works in this during this time which talked about using enhancement techniques which take in an MR image which is of a low magnetic which is taken from a low magnetic field scanner, and improving the quality as if it was taken by a high magnetic scanner. Now to develop these methods we need certain number of samples from the high magnetic field MR, right? But those are only to develop these methods. Once the approaches is developed, when the approaches are developed, then this approach can be used in various settings, right, where such enhancements are possible. So now here the challenges are that this particular approach was developed using some MR settings. Now whether the same approach is applicable for other MR parameters, we don't know, right? So this is where the research is ongoing, that can it be generalized, can we have a more generalized approach which takes in different MR parameters, different say TR, TEs and so on, and which can develop a similar approach of enhancement. So that is something. So this is an example of the enhancement part that I was talking about. Now in this case the final diagnosis could be manual, right? However, because the images are enhanced, right, it can help the radiologist to diagnose better, right? So this is an example where we are not really doing segmentation or classification using AI. All we are doing is we are giving a better quality image, and which is arguably helping the radiologist to diagnose better. Now something similar we are now doing in an ongoing project with PGI Chandigarh. This is again an enhancement task for diffusion MRI. Here, one interesting phenomena is this is actually a much harder problem because the interpretation is harder. So here, what we are doing is, in the context of multi-shell diffusion MRI, images. So we are not talking about a single shell. We are talking about multi-shell, where the MRI images are taken with multiple B values. Now again, the problem is the same, that if you want to take a multi-shell images, the subject has to be in the MR scanner for a long period of time. Now, in a country like India, where we want better quality, but we want high throughput because we are seeing so many patients during the day, right? Reducing acquisition time is of utmost importance. Right? Now, in this case, the idea is that so there are two aspects. One is that we can take the images at multiple shells to get a better quality, or we can take the images at more number of gradients, both of which take time. Right? Now we can take lower quality images at a single shell and possibly at less number of gradients, because in diffusion MR you tend to use more gradients. In fact, there are methods available which can even go up to 90 gradients, 90 to 120 and all. However, what we are trying to do is with just 32 gradients, if we are able to capture images. Right? So 32 is still better than a DTI system. Right? However, it's not good at a Hardy system which takes in 90, 120 and so. So going with a 32 gradient system taking images, taking diffusion data from 32 gradient system, can we improve the quality of the reconstruction of the fiber reconstruction, right? As if they were taken by a diffusion diffusion MR acquisition, which uses 90 gradients. Again, in this case also, we for developing such systems, so this process is called training. For training such systems, we would require some initial data of of the high gradient diffusion. But once the system is developed, then the same thing can be used in various settings, right? So this is one of the major contributions here. And once this is developed, then the next steps would be to do fiber tractography and and fiber segmentation to essentially find out which regions are connected to which regions. Again, these can have applications, say in TBI, right? So in case of TBI, suppose I want to do surgery and I want to understand the fiber structure, right? We can actually do these kind of automated methods to quickly find out which fibers are getting connected where in the current situation, and which fibers are likely to be more damaged. So I can get all that sort of assessment, and it can help in surgery planning, right? And so on. So this is another example of that. So we start with a low gradient space. So these are very few number of gradients, and we are trying to reconstruct the diffusion MRI images as if they were captured within a high gradient space, right? So in this case, the input was 18 gradients and the output is 90 gradients. So this is just an example. Okay, now let's come to the recent trend, the recent sort of highlight of AI, ChatGPT. Now everybody knows what ChatGPT is, right? I'm not sure, some of you might also have been using ChatGPT. Now this is not ChatGPT really. This was developed last year, right? But here the idea is something similar to ChatGPT, but it's a much harder problem. So don't worry, ChatGPT is not doing this currently. It might happen soon because there are many people are working on this problem. Right? So this is the task of automated report generation, and this is again targeted towards improving efficiency, improving throughputs, and so on. Right? Now in this case, the idea was to do this on a publicly available data set on lung X-rays, right? Where the associated reports are available. So the middle column that you see here, those are the associated reports. These are short reports, not very long reports. Right? And the idea was to develop an approach. So this is for example, an example of a contemporary neural network, right? So the input is the images and certain limited number of tags which are associated with the images, and the output is the report here, right? So we'll not, of course, go into the details of the method, due to time constraints. But this is the idea that this is an example of image to text conversion, where the text is a natural language text, something what ChatGPT does, right? But in this case, the input is image and the output is text, and these are some examples. So clearly, I mean, these are the right column is the generated report. So clearly, you see that there is still a lot of scope of improvement in terms of sentence construction, in terms of domain specific, using domain specific words and so on. But we see that, of course, there are various ways to assess the accuracy of this, the performance of this. So we see that, the parts marked in blue closely overlap with the ground truth parts. Right? So, there are some words which are closely overlapping with this. So clearly there is definitely, scope of improvement, further improvement. But this is another very interesting area in AI-based, research in medical imaging, which is sort of using both the textual data as well as the image data, right? And this is again a very upcoming area, automatic report generation. Okay. Finally, we move on to the domain of biosignals. What I'm going to do is I'm going to quickly browse through this. Now this is the first task that I'm covering is not strictly in medical image analysis, but again, the idea is that, in AI, what happens is methods which are borrowed for a different method which are used in a different kind of application, they can be borrowed or they can be adapted to suit other applications. Right? So in this case, we are using EEG, right? And the goal is that you collect EEG. This is what we call as a perceptual brain decoding. So the brain decoding is the keyword here. The idea is that, we collect EEG when a person is doing a perceptual task. In this case, it's a visual perception, but there are similar methods for audio perception and so on. And the idea is that through EEG, which is a non-invasive technique, right, can we reconstruct or identify what the person is trying to see or trying to imagine, right? So this is the task here. The person is seeing an image and imagining that image, and during which time we are collecting EEG, and through AI-based techniques, we are trying to identify at least the category of the image, or if possible, can we generate what type of image the person is actually seeing. So I'm not going into again the details of the algorithm, but these are some examples. So this is, say, the network. This is called, for those of you who are aware of GAN, generative adversarial networks, and more recently diffusion models. So these are methods which can generate, distributions of data, right? In this case, that data is images. So they can generate images, right? You can generate very artistic images and so on. In this case, of course, the EEG data is very noisy, so our image generation is also noisy. But the important part is that when a person is looking at an apple, and if you take an EEG from that, those time instances, using that EEGs, we are generating images which definitely look like an apple. Similarly, there are images which look like a car, which look like a dog, and so on. So this is a very interesting area. Right? Possible applications could be rehabilitation, for example, stroke patients which cannot communicate. Can they at least communicate through brain signals about, say, some basic needs which can be, say, categorized in a small number of objects, right? So this could be used for say communication, enhancing or giving capabilities for basic communication for stroke and paralyzed patients which cannot move, which cannot speak. Right? So these are some of the applications. But it's a very exciting area, and similar techniques are similar kinds of AI-based algorithms are now used in other very clinical applications. For example, in terms of epilepsy assessment. Right now, this is again not epilepsy assessment directly, but this is a precursor to that. That when we take EEG, we see a lot of artifacts in EEG. EEG is a very noisy signal, and you need to remove the artifact. Before that, you need to identify the artifacts. So we need to convert the raw EEG signal into different domains. In this case, we are doing it using in the frequency domain, using an operation called Fourier transform, and then using an AI-based deep learning method for that. Right? Similarly, now we are looking at classification of different types of epileptic seizure, because the medication depends on the type of seizure. And again, this data is coming from Temple University, which have very graciously made the data publicly available. And again, we see that in the frequency context, the seizures are much easier to identify. So this is another thing which AI is able to do. That when a human being sees data, he or she will see a raw data. Right now, oftentimes the critical information may not be very visible in the raw data, but it may be visible after a certain transformation of the data. And these kind of transformations is what AI systems are able to learn. Right? So this is another big advantage. In fact, this is one of the most fundamental advantage of AI, that they are able to transform the data in certain ways, wherein the information or the information related to discrimination or information related to enhancement, etc., comes out very, very clearly. Right? And because of this transformation, AI algorithms are so successful. So yeah, and finally, the last application of biosignals is essentially for mental workload classification, which we are currently working on. So again, in this case, of course, we are taking EEG signals, and based on the EEG signals, we are trying to quantify how much mental workload a person is suffering. Right. So this is again related to well-being related applications, and so on. Now, I'll just spend, say, a couple of minutes on a very interesting initiative at IIT Mandri under the guidance of our Honorable Director. So I'm just going to switch, slides. So these are again some initial efforts. So last year, we have started a center called, Indian Knowledge System and Mental Health Application, pioneered by our director, and Dr. Varun is, the head for the center. Now here the idea is that we are looking at, so clearly the focus is mental health, right? And we're basically looking at, the Indian traditions, Indian aspect from Indian traditions, such as yoga, meditation, Ayurveda, consciousness studies, etc., etc., and trying to do some, efforts in analyzing the effects of such practices, such interventions, on general wellness. So right now we are not targeting, any, core clinical applications, but we've started some initial efforts. For example, we collect data from a bunch of students, a large number of students, which, fortunately IIT Mandi, has the, benefit of. And say, these are some examples. So in this case, we're looking at effectiveness of listening to, an Indian classical rag under a VR setting. So this is a virtual reality setting where the subject is exposed to a nice environment. He's listening to the rag in a nice environment. And we're then looking at, we're assessing various scores in terms of, the improvements of stress, anxiety, and of course these surveys are also including depression, but we fortunately don't have any depression patients, so we are targeting mostly stress and anxiety, right? So we definitely see some, positive effects, and we then correlate that with changes in biosignals such as EEG and say heart rate variability. So we measure EEG and heart rate variability and see, the correlation between the improvements in terms of the surveys to the heart rate variability, cases. Right? Similarly, other studies include, doing meditation under a VR setting. Right? This is an example of a mantra meditation. Again, targeting, various measurements, right? Such as EEG and heart rate variability, and various tests also. So we then ask a person to do a certain task and see the efficiency of the person in the task, before the meditation session and after the meditation session. Right? And similarly, we've recently we had a visiting faculty on Odissi dance, and we did some study with her help on on the effect of Odissi dance on stress levels, right, with a similar paradigm. So this is something that I wanted to again highlight that AI and so sensor techniques, AI based techniques, etc., are essentially seeping into the well-being space, wherein we clearly see that interventions of Indian traditions, which have been there for thousands of years, right, is now they are now research. They are seeing a significant resurgence because of modern analysis techniques, which can objectively establish the benefits of this. Right. So this is an example of our lab. This is our yoga center with many devices and so on. Yeah. So finally, to end the talk, so we've covered a variety of domains and modalities, right? We've looked at a variety of applications and a variety of solutions, right? Then this is important because, oftentimes, a solution which works for one approach, one modality, one application may not directly work for others. So that's why, there is so much research and so much, sort of activity in the AI space. Right? Importantly, although we see companies coming up with softwares capable of enhancing, capable of segmenting. So for example, Siemens or GE, which supplies the MR machine, right, they will have an associated software which will have certain functionality. But that does not mean that if a software has a functionality, that is the end of it. Right? So the idea is that these softwares continuously keep on getting updated, and even academicians can develop such functionalities through collaborations and add to whatever is available in industrial software, right, at a very sort of low end and a low cost solutions, right? So basically that's why we are looking at constant improvements in terms of performance, efficiency, for example, acquisition time that we discussed, and so on, data quality as we discussed, saw various examples. And importantly, one upcoming trend in healthcare is point of care capabilities. So can we come up with low cost and low end devices which can be deployed at point of care? Right? So this is particularly important for rural areas and or small towns and so on. Right? And finally, we are looking at targeted benefits, right? So this is quite important because unlike computer vision or unlike other multimedia applications where people research or invent the problems, here AI researchers are not really at a liberty to invent problems themselves, right? We need help from hospitals like yours, right? And we need strong collaboration effort because the problems have to come from your side, right? And because there is an awareness in the medical community about the benefits of AI, we are now looking at a clear need and efforts for collaboration and mutual understanding, which essentially look at targeted benefits. So these are not just suppose I think of a problem and it may not be relevant to the medical community, right? So we are definitely keen to understand you and based on that develop various applications. And clearly there is a need to collaborate across hospitals, academia, and industry. Finally, as Dean sir also mentioned, these are just highlighting some initial efforts that we've started with Aiims Bilaspur. So there is a startup company, at IIT Mandi. Now the students have recently graduated, so they've developed a consultancy app, and and Aiims Bilaspur has been mentoring that. Similarly, we are integrating now. We've got a small grant where we want to integrate some low-cost devices like digital stethoscope, digital otoscopes, and so on with this system. And Dean sir already mentioned the hospital navigation system, which is also being proposed to be integrated with this app. Similarly, there is ongoing work that we've recently started on anemia screening using mobile images of eye and skin. This is the example of the clinical data that I was talking about, right? AI application of the clinical effort. And a very, very interesting area. This is a core research area on digital nose that also we've recently started. So with this, I will end my presentation, and I'm welcome to take any questions or comments.
Thank you, sir. For a very useful and interesting talk. Sir, can you share your screen with us, your video? So this topic is open for discussion. Anyone from audience, online or offline, want to ask any queries? So anyone among audience, students, you want to ask about this topic? Sir, we like to ask one further.
Sure.
Sir, there is one question from the online participants. Is there any difference between the accuracy on the medical diagnosis when manual diagnosis is done as compared to the use of AI?
Yes, yeah. Thanks for that question. So in fact, there is, one thing is about the difference in the diagnosis. So the idea is that there was one term that I mentioned in the initial part of my presentation was objectivity, right? So AI systems can be called as objective systems because they are very consistent in their diagnosis. Now, for example, the company that I was mentioning about earlier, who has worked with us on the cervical screening. So before jumping into this product, of course, these industries do a very extensive review, and a part of this review is essentially to gauge the diagnosis of different pathologists, say on a certain data, right? So they'll take a certain amount of data to different pathologists. Now they come up with measures called sensitivity and specificity, which is essentially how accurate the analysis is and how precise the analysis is, how consistent the analysis is. Right? So there are differences, in terms of the sensitivity and specificity among different pathologists, right? Because of their subjectivity, and again because of so there have been reported cases where it has been seen that the observation today and the observation after 6 months can also differ, right? So because of again various factors such as experience and other workload and so on. So the measurement of this assessments is actually done very objectively in terms of these metrics called sensitivity and specificity. And before going for an AI based say industrial product, the industries typically do this kind of a survey where they understand what is the current sensitivity and specificity of manual assessment. So if the current sensitivity is say 70%, right, that means, in 70% of the cases, the doctors make a very accurate assessment. In the 70% of in 30% of the cases, the assessment is not wrong, but ambiguous, right? For example, if I show it to 5 doctors, 3 of them will make one, 2 of them will make other assessments. So these are the examples of ambiguity. Now we are targeting an AI system which is better, than 70%, or which is better than 80%, which can go up to 80%, 90% in terms of the sensitivity and specificity. Right. So that is the way the AI systems are applicable. Does that answer your question?
Sir, there is one more question.
Yeah.
Sir, you have worked with so many medical professionals. Sir, is there any ethical concerns that you have faced during this use of AI in medical diagnosis?
Okay. So what we have done is when we work with medical professionals, right? So normally, like I said towards the end of my presentation, that the problems generally come from the medical domain, right? And we try to stay in the space of those problems. So as long as we don't go beyond those problems, for example, say consider privacy, right? Now, when we take data from say a hospital or a doctor, we make sure that the data is anonymized, right? So that we don't know the personal identities and so on, right? So there are some of the standard practices. If we follow those practices, then another aspect is when we process the data, say when we are enhancing the data, we want to make sure that already visible features, they are not affected, right? So new features can come up, but already existing features, they should not disappear, right? So so as long as we take care of such aspects, then the ethical concerns are we don't have so much ethical concerns. But of course, our collaborator, they in any such project, our collaborators take the necessary ethical approvals, and in that process we also participate. So so the ethical approval process is the standard process that we go through.
Thank you, sir.
Hello, good morning. Can I say something, Dr. Bhagyashree?
Yes.
And Dr. Anupam Prashar. Hello. Good morning, sir. Very nice talk. You were discussing about this ethical issues.
Mm-hmm.
So I just wanted to add that ICMR has come up with the guidelines for this ethical guidelines for AI in healthcare and biomedical research.
Right.
And because it has become very pertinent now, these things that because when AI will come in medicine, obviously it is going to inevitably raise new ethical challenges for everyone. So, we should be thinking on those lines also. This is a very good point somebody has raised, that ethical considerations are really, really important, because when you are dealing with humans, you can't taking just ethical permission. In addition to that, we need to, educate our students and doctors also regarding these confidentiality and privacy while we are dealing with these AI equipments. Thank you.
Yeah, very good point. Yeah, in fact, that's very relevant. So, students which typically work with us directly, normally they are obviously educated, but in general, the larger community is not so educated. So I think that's where you made a very good point. Definitely, now that we have the guidelines, it will be in fact easy for us to map the processes that we are doing to towards these guidelines.
Yes.
Thank you for that point.
Thank you, sir.
So finally, I would like to thank the director, the dean Aiims Bilaspur, and also Dr. Vikrant Kanwar from Aiims Bilaspur, who has been working with me for the projects that I mentioned. I've been partnering with him. So I'd like to acknowledge his efforts.
Thank you, sir. Anyone else?
Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
Hello.
Yes, ma'am.
I have a query.
Mm-hmm. Yes, ma'am. Please, I can hear you. Yeah.
Hello.
Yeah, yes, I can hear you.
You're audible, ma'am.
You're audible. Yeah. Ma'am, I can hear you. Please go ahead.
Hello.
Ma'am, we can hear you.
Hello, madam, we can hear you. Please, go ahead with your query. Hello.
Ma'am, please, you can ask your question. Hello, ma'am.
Hello.
Yes, ma'am, we can hear you. You can ask your question.
Okay. Dr. Arnav, thanks for very informative speech. I just have a query that what I get from this all is that whatever data we have, that is interpreted by AI. And all the data which we have are mostly, I would say, is from the foreign countries. And how can we satisfy our data with that?
Thank you, ma'am. Thanks a lot for that question. So yes, I agree that much of the work that I have shown is the data is coming from the foreign scientists. In fact, we should now take that cue and start making our data available to the community. Some of the things that we have done, for example, the work on cervical cancer screening and the work that we are currently doing with PGI and the diffusion MRI, that data is coming from Indian hospitals. So, for example, the cervical cancer screening data was coming from labs in Bangalore. Similarly, the diffusion data that we are currently using is coming from PGI Chandigarh. So there are some examples definitely where the data is coming from India, right? But I agree with your point that I think unless we start coming up with some data sets beyond our personal collaborations, unless we start making the data publicly available, I think the Indian context would definitely benefit only if that happens, right? But on the other hand, in many cases the data is not that different. So like I said, AI algorithms which are developed on foreign data, many of them can be adapted very easily to Indian data. Of course, we have to retrain these methods, but they can be, retrainable without a lot of difficulty. So I would say we are, doing it on foreign data. We've done about 70% of the work, and now adapting it to Indian data, I would say we are left at about 20 to 30% of the work. So that is.
Thank you. So that means we need lot of collaboration between so many other departments to come to work proper channels.
Yes.
Thank you.
Definitely there are some efforts. There are some, a lot of, academicians are making such efforts, but of course we need more centralized collaborations as well.
Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, sir. We are highly grateful to you for sparing your valuable time for this talk. And thank you so much again, sir.
Thank you for the opportunity and thank you for that interesting discussion. I think that was very enlightening. I have noted the points.
Thank you so much, sir. Okay. Now we next, I would like to request our HOD ma'am to kindly present a token of respect to our dean, sir. Thank you, sir. Now I request all of you to join us for high tea, which has been arranged outside the lecture theatre. So you all are requested to kindly join us back after 20 minutes. The next session will start after 20 minutes. 15 minutes.
Can you please unmute? We cannot hear you.
Welcome back for session 1. I welcome our chairperson for this session. So for this scientific session 1, our chairperson are Dr. Deepti Chopra, Professor and Head, Department of Pharmacology, Aiims Bilaspur. Our second chairperson, Dr. Poonam Verma, Faculty in Charge, Additional Professor, Department of Department of Physiology, and Faculty in Charge, Medical Education Unit, Aiims Bilaspur. We welcome you, ma'am. For the first talk, I request Dr. Deepti Chopra to introduce our speaker for the scientific session 1, Dr. Shazia Iqbal. Please, ma'am.
Thank you, Dr. Bhaveshi. Welcome to the session 1. Session 1 will be by Dr. Shazia Iqbal. Dr. Shazia Iqbal is working as Director of Medical Education Center and Assistant Professor of Medicine Gynecology at Diffusion College of Medicine, Riyadh, Saudi Arabia. She is a fellow of College of Physicians and Surgeons and an associate member of COG, and have completed a master's in medical education from the University of UK. She assists in developing and reviewing curricula at medical institutions with a special interest in pedagogical techniques using educational technologies. She is an international speaker, and her key areas of expertise are artificial intelligence, virtual reality, and medical education, role of mixed reality in promoting scientific reasoning skills, digital health, and e-health and telemedicine. The topic for today's talk is artificial intelligence and augmented reality in medical science, a global perspective. Welcome, ma'am. Over to Dr. Shazia.
Thank you so much for this warm introduction, and I really thank for the organizing committee to invite me. So allow me to share my slides. I hope I'm audible and you can hear me well.
Yes, ma'am, you're audible.
Yes, so just allow me to share my slides. So is it visible?
Yes, ma'am, your presentation is visible.
All right. Thank you so much. So I really appreciate for inviting me. Special thanks to Dr. Nindhi Puri, and I really congratulate you to organize such an informative event. And I'm going to talk on a topic which is really very close to my heart, and I'm always passionate to talk about it, and its role of artificial intelligence and augmented reality in medical education. So here I am right now. This is capital of Saudi Arabia, Riyadh. Beautiful sunny morning here, and very much vibrant city. And this is my college, VN Colleges, where I am serving and taking care of medical education unit. I'm serving as director of medical education unit and curriculum development, especially when it's about role of artificial intelligence and virtual reality introducing in anatomy as well as in simulation. So this is our campus where we have our simulation center and anatomy lab. And in this talk, I shall go through that how we are building and how we are enhancing and how other medical educators can get benefit from our experiences. So in this session, I will be talking at the very basic definitions of artificial intelligence, because I'm expecting that in our audience, there will be young medical educators, young faculty members, medical students, and everyone has its own perspectives about definition of artificial intelligence, views about augmented reality, and many people, they need to understand the difference between virtual reality and mixed reality and augmented reality. So there are a lot of terminologies. So I will go through a few examples, and very important is to differentiate that what is difference between AI education and role of AI for education. And I will go through the developing AI competencies in medical sciences and especially its role in anatomy and surgical training. So just give a moment and think that what is my understanding about artificial intelligence? Just think for a while that how I perceive it and what is my understanding that it differentiates between ordinary technologies in education and what make it unique artificial intelligence. So just give a second and then we shall go through different definitions. So I learned with my experiences when our team published an article on a systematic review during COVID period that what is role of artificial intelligence during COVID in healthcare systems. And there were a lot of definitions came to our encounters, different resources, and we really decided that we had to stick to some basic concept which help us to differentiate that this is the exact role of AI. So artificial intelligence was the term which was first introduced by John McCarthy in 1956, which is quite famous scientist. And after that, people started using more frequently this term. However, with passage of time, there is a lot of apprehensions that how we finally decide and to reach a consensus. And the reason being lack of consensus on one definition was public perceptions. A lot of movies are coming up which made that something human which is with superpower, that is AI operated, and slowly and gradually AI will take over a human brain, human intelligence, and human being will be treated maybe with human can put themselves into trouble if they will give too much authority to artificial intelligence. So a lot of perceptions from movie, marketing, cultural perspectives, and different biomedical scientists and IT experts' opinions on this really make this consent a bit difficult to define basics. So concepts of easy and hard vary dramatically from human to machine perspectives. Just think of an example that if we give you these calculations, which are mentioned on my slide on left-hand side, and I give you this calculation, how much time you will take? I think it will be a lot difficult for human body to calculate in few seconds. However, if we give it to machine, which is AI assisted, it's very easy. It will give you answer within few seconds. However, on the other hand, if I give you objects like pencils, coins, or clipboards, human can recognize it very easily. However, it will be very hard for AI to define the name of that object unless we put a lot of data into it and then it recognize the patterns. So we need to understand that AI can assist human being in different aspects, but definitely human has its role to play along with AI, and we have to get positive benefits from AI rather than getting a lot of apprehension. So these are few examples. As Bretina Encyclopedia defines that artificial intelligence is the ability of digital computer or computer-controlled robot to perform a task commonly associated with intelligent beings. However, IBM defines that artificial intelligence leverages computer and machines to mimic the problem-solving and decision-making capabilities of human mind. So AI can help in decision-making. AI can assist in problem-solving. However, Oracle defines that AI refers to a system and machines that mimic human intelligence to perform a task and can alternatively improve themselves based on the information. So this is one of the very important aspects that machine, with passage of time, with lot of repeated data, it should have the ability to improve themselves, just like human being. We do a lot of surgeries, we do a lot of readings, we improve ourselves on the basis of our prior knowledge. So similarly, AI should have this capability to improve themselves with information. So two important key aspects are very important when we talk about AI. One is autonomy and other is adaptivity. I think by end of this session, if you grab this concept that what is autonomy and adaptivity, any machine which has these two capabilities is considered as AI. Because when you go and talk to some vendings or marketings, they talk that, yeah, have a look on our machine. It has features of AI. So you have to ask that, is this machine has the capability to have autonomy? Autonomy means the ability to perform a task in complex environment without constant guidance by user. And adaptivity means the ability to perform a task by learning from experiences, repeated measures. So any machine which has these two capabilities, we consider it as AI, autonomy and adaptivity. Let's challenge our knowledge now. I will give you two examples and think that is this AI or is this not AI? Let's see. So first example is that if you have an Excel sheet and it has millions and millions of data, which is very complicated, and you entered that data or you extracted that data and you perform certain kind of test or perform certain kind of formula on that complex sheet, and by end this sheet give you graphs, charts and results. What do you think that is this AI? Just challenge your knowledge. You may share in chat box if you want. Is this AI? Well, I would say that this is not AI because you have entered data, you have feed certain information into that, and according to the formula which you have chosen, it has given you result. Again, going back to definition, it doesn't have the capability to adjust, autonomize, or give some kind of intelligence input into this sheet. That's why it's not considered as AI. On the other hand, let's see another example that Spotify is a very famous app for music. Many people will be using that. And if you just go on search bar, it will recommend you some kind of songs. So does it having some AI features? It is recommending you on basis of what? So it has autonomy, it has adaptability according to your choice and previous search. So which song you search the most repeatedly, it will give you recommendations similar to that on the basis of its intelligence. So yes, it has to some extent features of AI. So this is how we differentiate between different tools which are operated as AI and which are not operated as AI. So this was about very basic concept of artificial intelligence. Let's move ahead towards other definitions, which is virtual reality, augmented reality, and mixed reality. This is very important to understand the difference between them and what they are. So virtual reality is basically creating an fully artificial environment. When you wear this headset, it will take you a fully immersive environment in which you can interact with the environment, you can interact with the virtual objects, virtual anatomy structures, you can play with the muscles, you can drag the muscles, you can look into blood supply, nerve supply when you are talking on a hollow human. So it's all artificial environment. However, in augmented reality, virtual objects overlaid on the real world environment. You are in the actually real world environment. However, you overlay with some virtual objects for better understanding and better navigation. So mixed reality is a combination of both. When you combine the features of mixed reality with augmented reality, it becomes mixed reality, and we call it XR as well. So when we talk about anatomy teaching, there is trend now, global trend, that we prefer to optimize and deliver the content very effectively. You know, in anatomy, there is lot of content, lot of classifications of tissues, structures. So you have to know that how you can enhance the process of learning in anatomy. I will take you to this short video, which will help you to build more concept. So this was a wonderful example that how things are changing abruptly and how anatomy teaching, especially surgical training, is changing so abruptly in view of using mixed reality and augmented reality. And it's not only in better integration, but it's for collaborative purposes and to enhance communications between the users and collaborate. So yes, just think that should we start educating our medical students and young trainees about AI, how it works, and what exactly is the role of AI to enhance medical education? Yes, clinicians need to understand how AI works to effectively use this technology in their clinical practice. You know, once MRI machines came, once PCR machines came into being and people start using them, we made it a part of curriculum to understand what are the principles of MRI, what are the principles of PCR, how it make a difference between ordinary testing and how PCR help us to detect genetic problems. So similarly, now AI is part and parcel of medical sciences, and yes, being medical educators and trainers, we have to start thinking seriously that how we can adopt it quickly. We have to start thinking that ways that how we can enhance and build the basic principle and concepts of AI, ethical aspects of AI in medical education. Yes, that is essential and we cannot bypass in this era. AI for education, definitely it has potential role. It has great role to transfer the way a learner learn in health professional education, because we are looking forward the swiftest way, effective way. We don't want to utilize much time reading lot of literature or books. We just want to make things very interactive and integrated, especially when we talk about integration curriculum, integration of basic and clinical sciences, integrating anatomy, physiology, pathology, pharmacology at the same time in clinical context. So we want to use our time swiftly so that we can convey this message or convey the lesson to the learner very quickly. Yes, this is a time that we are moving towards adaptive learning. We want to understand the need of the learners. Current medical students are quite different from the way we have been taught on cadavers, the way we have been taught in a very didactic way through lectures, anatomy through lectures. That is very strange. Why not to think to change our curriculum, which is more integrative, and we can inculcate and we can boost this curriculum through the use of mixed reality and augmented reality. So this is the time that we have to adapt our changes in our teaching learning methods, in our pedagogy, in our assessment methods, because we have to understand the new perspectives and 21st century learning designs. We have to look at how learning take place. What are the key parameters which we can use and maximize these AI tools to enhance the learner's capacity to optimize their knowledge. We have to support the learners through different technology tools like virtual reality tools, and which are superimposed with AI and robotics is one of the way and example which we're using in surgical training these days. Does AI help in assessment? So being medical educators, we are not only tutor, we are assessor as well. And how we can optimize these assessments? Yes, it is research approved. There are many publications which says that if we can navigate a learner assessment, for example, if you are training somebody on a surgical skills, that how quickly he can enter a port or laparoscopic port inside the tummy while he is getting training on a simulators. Yes, AI can help you to analyze performance and develop a customized learning plan for you. Keep track and give feedback and performance data. It can develop need-based action plans for learner improvement. It can prioritize area for learning based on standards. So how amazing it is. And definitely longitudinal tracking of complex performance data like work-based assessment, 360-degree feedback, performance evaluations. In all of these aspects of assessment, we can seek help with AI tools and visualization performance, especially in large group of learners. Their engagement in the learning can be visualized and assessed, and we can improve on that. So that's an example that artificial intelligence in surgery can improve patient care by assisting surgeons, data-driven decisions, context awareness assistance, workflow recognition, surgical and cognitive, especially when you're performing through robotics. These are few examples. AI is really helping when we are looking as obstetrician and gynecology in fetal well-being. When surgeons, they are working on a patient, it can help to enhance your field of vision. Surgical scene understanding is better. Surgical workflow recognition is better. Enhancing the field of view, helping to classification of and detection of cancers. and lot more. Interoperatively, it can guide in real time, high precision, high resolution virtual overlay. This is one of the example how hollow eyes or different devices can be overlaid on the surgical operative field, and surgeon can better work with high precision, with better safety for the patient and short stay in the hospital and better outcome. So it can assist in autonomous suturing as well. This all right. I noticed that you cannot hear the sound, so let's move ahead to my next slide. Can you please check sound is coming in this video?
There is no sound. Can you put your mic on the video?
That's very strange that you cannot hear, but I can hear the sound very well. Anyways, these two videos are just embedded that really show you that how augmented reality and AI is helping in surgical field and diagnostics. So I'm just bypassing if you cannot hear. So when we say about assessors, one of the biggest aspect is the assessor bias, which is really critically analyzed these days, that assessors, when they assess students, no matter they are undergrad medical students or postgrad surgical trainers, there is a bias of assessor subjectivity. No matter we have OSCEs or objective assessments, but still this bias is really making assessment a bit doubtful and low inter-rater reliability among expert raters, especially when you are assessing on a complex task like robotic surgeries or laparoscopic surgeries or complex dissection of a tissue. So this is one of the big challenge for assessor, and yes, AI can help into that, because when we are assessing a learner, we are assessing learner on these domains. We are not only assessing cognitions, behavior, psychomotor skills, clinical skills. So all these three combinations at a time are difficult to assess, but when we use AI, which help us to navigate, retrieve back data, give feedback on performance, you can better assess. So these are few examples which are commonly used in simulation labs. Currently, we have interactive virtual patients, which is one of the very basic example of virtual reality which we are using. Patient, rather than going to hospitals, we can train our patient first on simulator in simulation lab, which is creating a complete virtual reality environment. And this patient is interactive. Whatsoever question you ask them, they respond accordingly. If you manipulate with your question, they will change. They can express themselves. They can show the pain. They can move their body parts. So this is one of the common example which is being used in different hospitals in European countries, even in Middle East, Gulf medical universities, or different institutions who have advanced level of simulation labs. There are different testing application tools which are available to give automated feedback, like Quizlets. And these days, yes, AI chatbot, this is very important. And people are so much excited to learn about that because it can help you to write, especially paper writing, research writings, journal search related to medical sciences. It's amazing. And mostly, I'm sure that among you people mostly will be enjoying these tools. So these are few practical examples. When we talk about using technology like AI and augmented reality, definitely there are a lot of challenges. In previous conversation, our one of the presenter talked about ethical issues. Yes, definitely ethics is one of the biggest issue because when we are looking into a human being, we are always training that take a patient holistically. So will that be ethical that AI take decision about your management plan? We have to think very seriously and think very wisely that in which aspects AI can help you. There are a lot of computing power requirements. There is a lot of complex AI integrations, legal concerns, lack of understanding of implementation strategies, algorithm bias. So all of these are future challenges when we talk about introducing AI into medical education. So this is how we are working. Being medical educator, our key area of focus is to train our faculty members. So we are regularly conducting faculty development workshops at our institutions where we have started introducing the use of virtual reality in anatomy teaching. We are training our faculty members, especially who are very enthusiastic and feel comfortable, and young generations who want to adopt it quickly. We have regular sessions with our students as well to train them on these, especially in anatomy, because it is such proof that now anatomy teaching can be enhanced, especially scientific reasoning. And apart from that, we are now adopting certain modules, which are elective modules, which are compulsory, but with the use of virtual reality. We are looking into layout that how the students can use that in simulation lab, especially when we talk about enhancing clinical integration. So we can not only use it as a tool, teaching tool, but we are using it as clinical integration enhancement tool as well. So these are few examples which we are currently using in our own simulation lab. And I think here I will end my talk. So I think by end of this talk, you will be able to understand the basic concept of key AI and basic definition of AI and augmented reality and its use in medical education broadly with few examples. My apologies that if you couldn't hear the videos, but definitely they are embedded over here and I can share this material with you as well. So I'm happy to take questions.
Insightful and impressive lecture. We'll be taking questions after the so the house is open for discussion.
So is there any question for me, please? You can either write it in chat box. Oh yeah, there's one question in chat box. Thank you, Dr. Eka, for asking this question. Yes, there is a great role of AI in pharmacology. You know, these days we are using track care systems where if you put a wrong medication, which is not appropriate according to BMI of the patient or not appropriate according to the age of the patient, or it's not going along the sign and symptoms and diagnosis of the patient, it will immediately give you alert on the screen that, oh, there is something wrong, because this AI tool itself is trying to correlate all the information about the patient, and when it thinks that there is something wrong, either miscalculation of the dose or miscalculation or interaction or allergies, it will immediately give you POP, or it will not proceed further for the pharmacy for medications, and it will direct you that go back to consultant and consult again, or review your history or review your allergies history. Yes, there is a great role in pharmacology.
Any other questions from the audience?
What is your recommendation for training in AI? Well, that's a wonderful question. And this is what being medical educators we are promoting, that this is the right time that we should start creating awareness among educators, among our young medical students, trainees, at hospital, as well as in medical schools, as well as at training institutions, about the basic principles, about the basic concepts, and slowly and gradually make it part of curriculum. We should make it part of curriculum in a way that make small short courses, like neuroanatomy is very hard for students to understand. Make some sessions within the course specifications of neuroanatomy or neurosciences, or the module which you think which is very hard at the grab, or a lot of content or information is there that students have not much time to go into Gray's Anatomy or big huge literature to read. Yes, you should introduce some modules which can superimpose with use of virtual reality. And first of all, you have to train your faculty members through faculty development workshops, or just like the sessions right now you are conducting. Yes, you have to slowly and gradually take an initiative, do need assessments, and make it a part of courses. Yes. Yes, please, if any other question for me, you can unmute and can ask as well. Yes, chairperson, if you want to any question, you can either unmute or you can write your question. I can see there are a few questions.
I want to ask one question.
Yes, please. Your voice is not audible. If you can please make your mic a bit closer.
Am I audible?
Yes, a bit.
So, what I could gather that we can make use of AI in teaching the psychomotor domain of learning. That is very helpful in teaching that domain. It's basically simulation-based learning.
Exactly.
Yeah. And I don't know how much it will be useful in teaching cognitive domain and affective domain. So if you have any example of teaching these domains, so please share.
Yes, sure. When we talk about use of virtual reality in anatomy teaching, basically we are starting slowly and gradually with the cognition. As in my first video, I don't know whether it was audible or not, but you could see that students, they are interacting with the tissue. When they grab this tissue, for example, deltoid muscle, so they can have the 3D orientation of the muscle. They can look into insertion and its origin of the muscles, blood supply of the muscles. And at the same time, these softwares are designed in such a way that they are putting the names of the artery, name of the muscles, their relations of the muscles. Student can drag and overlay on that. And at the same time, if they want to look and integrate the physiology, you can click on the software button that I want to see the contraction of the muscles in relation with the movement of the arm or movement of the shoulder. So you can see the physiology of their tissue at the same time. So when we talk these two aspects, it's increasing your cognition, it's increasing your knowledge, and you can test that knowledge at the same time as well by inserting some kind of quizzes into that what is the muscles involved in extension of forearm. So you can embed those quizzes inside, and student can assess their knowledge at the same time, and they can assess how quickly they have answered, how many times they have made the wrong, and how they can improve further. So yes, this tool is starting with the enhancement of cognition, moving towards psychomotor, and it's not only moving limited to psychomotor, it increases the attitude and attributes of collaboration, because at times students, if they are wearing these headsets of virtual reality, multiple students, they can engage in that virtual reality with each other at the same time. So it's not only enhancing their positive attitude towards learning, giving feedback to each other, working in groups, team working skills, professionalism. So three of these domains, they are equally boosted up with these devices. Yes.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, ma'am. It was very impressive.
You can see my address on the screen, maybe. That's my LinkedIn profile. So most welcome if any one of you want to collaborate on any research projects related to AI or virtual reality in anatomy teaching. I'm more than happy. We can engage with each other. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for inviting. Special thanks to Dr. Nindepuri.
Thank you, Dr. Shazia. This was a really extensive and yet very easy to understand topic discussion with you. We are obliged here, and thank you so much once again for taking out time for us. I know you are a clinician and very busy also. Thank you so much.
Most welcome.
Second talk, I request Dr. Pooran Verma ma'am to kindly introduce our second speaker for the session one, Dr. Puneet Goel. Sir, can you share your presentation? Can you share your video, Dr. Puneet Goel?
Hello everyone, I'm just connecting with the other laptop for better connectivity.
So this session is taken up by Dr. Puneet Goel on current Indian scenario of artificial intelligence in medical sciences. Dr. Puneet is associate professor in the Department of Computer Science and Engineering and associate faculty of Department of Biomedical Engineering in IIT Ropar. He is a recipient of Institute Silver Medal in Computer Sciences and Engineering from IIT Delhi. He has done his PhD in Electrical and Computer Engineering from Purdue University, USA. He has worked in AT&T Lab, California, USA. He has contributed to many research publications in international journals and has 3 patents to his name. He has teaching experience for around 12 years and has guided many students to contribute towards development of many societal apps and technologies. Dr. Puneet is recipient of Early Career Research Award Grant 2017. DST served. His research interest includes applied deep learning, image processing, analytics, assistive education, and healthcare technologies. So we welcome Dr. Puneet to the session. So now it's over to you.
You can share your presentation now. Hello, sir.
Hello?
Hello, sir. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Okay, sir. So you can share your presentation.
Yeah, sure. So am I audible well?
Yes, sir. You are audible.
Great. Thanks a lot. So I know we are running short of time. I will take not much minutes in presenting the work here. I hope my slides are visible.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So thanks a lot for giving this privileged opportunity for present the for having a discussion related to current Indian scenario of AI in medical sciences. And I really appreciate this initiative of organizing this CME on AI and emerging trend in medical sciences. It was lovely to hear some wonderful talks from professors from different universities. So in interest of time, I will start. So in this presentation, I will just like to highlight overall that how the usage of AI in India in medical domain is still in early stages, with promising research in different domains like disease diagnosis, telemedicine support, drug delivery, health monitoring, and also electronic health records analysis. We will be seeing some examples of that, and many of us might be also familiar with some of these. And with the AI usage, why like so crucial for us, the kind of results it produces, that's really admirable. But apart from that, with the limited medical workforce and other limited facilities that we have in the medical domain in India, in order to address the large number of patients and otherwise the masses, this is very much rarely needed. Without the AI, like I feel it's very difficult to match the and scale up to address the needs of the population. And as per WF reports, AI expenditure in India is expected to reach in billions, and the whole economic contributions of AI could be in $1 trillion also. So in this work, I will be presenting about some related research trends, some related recent research works, few things about the recent Indian startups and our research work, and some suggestions which can help adopt AI furthermore. So I would like to highlight one thing here, that given the time constraints and my own limited knowledge, like, it's not possible to include all the wonderful research work that's happening in India. So I apologize in advance for missing some of the interesting works that your collaborators or other people might be doing in this domain. So to begin with, I will have prepared some analysis from the PubMed and other reputed research publications websites. So as per PubMed, if we can see that how the if we search search artificial intelligence in medical worldwide, the trend has been amazingly moving forward. Even just in 2023, we have not completed the 3 months. Still, the number of publications are there, but overall across the years, it's been rising at a very good scale. India, in terms of India, we see the artificial intelligence in medical or deep learning in medical. Again, we see the similar trend. Of course, compared to the global research, our outcome is, I would say, 18 to 20 times less. But we can see across years, as per PubMed data, the year has been there is a exponential kind of growth that's happening. Similarly, if I just use the Scopus data, here we also see I analyze both ways, like all papers, all research papers, and also just the journal papers. In journal papers also there has been amazing growth overall. In fact, very rapid growth compared to that. Just comparing the number of papers that we had in journals in this domain is 14 times more than that what we had in 2016. And this is artificial intelligence in healthcare. Here also we see the number of research papers have increased tremendously in last few years. In just a span of less than 10 years, the growth of the papers and the research that's been happening in the different medical institutes or engineering institutes related to AI, it's been amazing. And these are all the works which are happening with the affiliation in India. So now, based on IEEE publishing also, when we see and analyze the data here, we observe that in journal also, the all papers, if we see collectively, the 18 times more publications in 2022 compared to 2016, and around 50 times more than that in 2016, the journal papers. In Science Direct also, of course, the number of papers are more in IEEE. If you can see, the number of papers are touching, around the scale of thousands, 2,000, 3,000, and so on. Here, the numbers are less in Science Direct, if you noted that. So numbers are less, but still, and I use the base here 2018, not 2016, because 2016 is just one or two more papers, so it does not will give you a good analysis. So it's still 18 to 20 times more the research is happening in just span of just 5-6 years. That's the kind of rapid growth that's been happening. That's the kind of need it is. That's the kind of the research researchers are exploring. So these are some recent IEEE journal papers with affiliation from India, and we can see it's been published in some of the top venues like IEEE Transactions on AI, IEEE Internet of Things Journal, IEEE Transactions on Radiation and Plasma Medical Sciences, IEEE Transactions on AI, IEEE Journal of Translation Engineering, Health and Medicine, with the domains and topics covering from disease diagnosis, Internet of Things enabled healthcare informatics, medical image segmentation, and of course, and we know like lots of research papers are primarily driven by the COVID-19. Then in breast cancer related topics. Then one more interesting thing to see here, that not just the research is happening in terms of making the predictions, but there is a very quality research happening in terms of explainability and the trust also. Without that aspect, trusting the predictions and adoption of those AI based estimations in the real world is a serious challenge. I will present here some research works of some of the research scientists that I am familiar about, and what the work they have been doing, some of their research works, to give you the diverse understanding and also highlight those topics. So this is from Dr. Tapan, Professor Tapan Gandhi from IIT Delhi. So he has been doing a lot of research in different domains based on related to neurocomputing, epilepsy, blindness, and helping the persons with disabilities. So this is one of the recent research work from his group, where they have been using the classified fusion model for COVID-19 detection from CT scans. This is another work from a professor in IIT Jodhpur, their team in collaboration with IIT Delhi and other hospitals and radiologists. They did interesting work, like they multitask driven explainable diagnosis for COVID-19. So this was one of the initial works that been happening with the explainable aspect in the COVID-19 chest X-ray image analysis. So they were able to and not just diagnose whether the given CT scan has the particular attribute related to COVID-19, but able to highlight those features as well also, which were not that easily identified with the existing earlier works. There is another work from Professor Bala, IIT Roorkee. So they have been working in the breast tumor detection using deep learning and AI for ultrasound images there for the breast tumor detection. And they have provided some state-of-the-art recent results. You can see this publication is in 2023. There are a few other works like Professor Janta Mukherjee from IIT KGP. They have worked on MRI brain tumor segmentation and also developed a low-cost test for anemia detection using the deep learning and ANNs. There is some interesting work happening from my colleague here, Dipti Butula, in IIT Ropar. They are working on EEG-based visual stimulus classification. She also works a lot in medical imaging based on deep learning analysis. In healthcare, there are some other recent works which summarize that what kind of applications are coming in the cardiology in terms of healthcare and biomedical research. Now, I have expressed a couple of the related R&D works that's been happening in India in the current scenario of using AI in medical sciences. These are some other units, I would say, the practically deploying and taking into the market. So there are some trending AI healthcare startups that have been that have produced some of the innovative solutions, and many of them have received wonderful rewards also. Like SigTuple, they are combining the robotics and AI to build smart screen solutions. They are mostly in pathological analysis. Niramai, they are working for breast cancer screening solutions using thermal imaging. They propose a novel solution leading to some awards also. Cure.ai, they work on chest X-ray analysis, head CT scans, and brain MRI analysis, generating the reports automated using the deep learning. Then PharmEasy to connect the people with the pharmacies nearby in a seamless manner. Healthify, that's a kind of ecosystem which takes several parameters for overall Healthify aspect. And then there is also a Center for Advanced Research in Imaging, Neuroscience, and Genomics, Mahajan Imaging Group. They have been quite they have lots of data, and a tremendous investment been done for the GPU and the deep learning infrastructure, leading to and collaborations with a lot of startups, lot of academia from world-renowned institutes, even like in US and India, and they have been doing interesting solutions based on the medical imaging. Then there is a startup Tricog and Spandan. They work related to the ECG data and identifying the heart attacks and so on. Then there is Onward Health and Predible Health. These are, I think, Hyderabad and Bangalore-based startups working for the post-surgery recovery process, and other is working for, I think, a liver and a lung cancer diagnosis, the Predible Health. So that's the kind of, the new startups, and they are making a difference altogether with the usage of AI in the medical sciences. There is an article from one of the co-founder of the Cure.ai discussing about the AI in healthcare technology in India. And they also mentioned with the rapid penetration of the smartphones and other devices, and with the imaging devices development, it's becoming more easier. At the same time, the growth that's been happening in the AI domain. Now, the very crucial aspect that plays a role for the adoption of AI in medical sciences is the data sets. I just checked out, I found that there are some India-specific medical data sets available on Kaggle, which is a competing platforms, and then OGD platform, indiastat.com. But most of these data are related to healthcare. If we really want to make a progress in terms of more R&D contributions coming from medical and the other engineering institutes and the startups, I think there is requirement to have more medical data sets being publicly available. So overall, as such, currently what I would feel that the data set availability is limited, and there are privacy and quality concerns too. Few of the researchers in different institutes have provided the data sets publicly available, and some of them do provide on request, but that still is very limited compared to what we see. Most of the challenges in top conference and publications are based on the medical data that's released from the developed countries or from the US or European countries or China. So I think we require that, and in this I am happy to note that there have been initiatives taken. I think it is still to lead to development of the data bank, from which we as the researchers can also acquire the data sets, but that step has been taken. I think the ICM and ISC have made some MOUs for preparing the quality medical data sets. And there are, as some of the researchers have already highlighted, that there are a lot of challenges also in preparing these data sets, like quality checks, privacy preservation, and other things like that. I think one of you are also mentioning about this, that the ethical guidelines. So it's just few days back only, 4 or 5 days back only, that ICMR released the country's first ethical guidelines for AI usage in healthcare. I think this is a great step that we have taken in this. The ICMR has taken, our country has taken in this direction, because this will help really streamline many of the procedures and will help develop the proper framework for the development and deployment of the solutions that have been prepared. And this guidelines does discuss about these facts also: data safety, data sharing, data privacy, and accountability in clinical decision making. This is a really wonderful step, and I'm sure it's going to help a lot. Particularly, if I see from my perspective, when as an engineering person we meet the medical experts and doctors, we do face a challenge in acquiring the data set and understanding their aspects. So given this opportunity, I would also like to highlight some of the research work that we have been doing at our lab, IPSA lab, Image Processing Security Analytics lab in IIT Ropar. So we work in different domains related to healthcare, image forensics, and education. But of course, I would focus here some of the works that we have recently done in relation to the medical sciences, the healthcare. So one work we did, I think this was one of the initial problems being explored by our group related to the burn diagnosis. So we analyzed, and that number of persons who live, who says a lot of lose their life is 180K, and these numbers are in fact maybe 10 to 15 times more than the people who die of terrorist attacks and so on. So the burns problem is quite a serious problem in our country, and there are people who even do not die, but they face lifelong challenges with their disabilities that they acquire, and many other social and economically challenges also they face. So we would like that motivated us to explore usage of AI in helping or speeding up the treatment time for the burn patients. So we touch two aspects to the problem. One is given the burn patient image, can we diagnose it? Because the treatment of the burn patient quite lie on the total burn surface area estimation and also the burn severity assessment. So we developed some data sets based on the publicly available images, and later on we also established some collaboration with the help of Dr. Karun Agarwal, who is the ex-HOD of the Southern Burns Hospital. So, but mostly we use that time the data set available on websites, and we personally got that labeled with the help of medical experts. And we developed some deep learning models to classify them with good accuracy. We realized compared to the traditional machine learning algorithms, the deep learning based AI algorithms, they provided a better results, much better results, even 10% or 20% better accuracy. Another thing, interesting thing that we did was instead of giving an image and directly finding it out whether what is the severity of that, we initially prepared the classification of the body part, whether it is a back image, face image, hand image, or inner forearm image, and then using the specific model prepared for that particular body part to classify the image, and that helped us further improvise the accuracy by around 10 to 15%. And these works have been published in some of the international conferences and journals. We also worked in doing the GradCam based visualization of this, which helps us understand, provide some explainability for this analysis. The other work that we did was related to the image segmentation using the deep learning algorithms. So we touched two problems. One, of course, is the burn region segmentation problem. Given the burn patient image, can we automatically find out the region of the burn area in that particular image, and then use that for better classification and for TBS estimation? The TBS estimation is really a very challenging problem. We have identified that we have some partners in Singapore and collaborators where they were also working on the similar problem, and we identified that's really the TBS estimation giving a patient's photo is quite a challenge. But we have made some progress in the first of its phase in segmentation, and we also touched upon another related problem, skin lesion segmentation. There have been very huge standard data sets available on the website from the US sources. And there also we can see that the works that we did, it provided a better accuracy compared to the existing state-of-the-art works that time in this domain. So these are, I think, some suggestions for the better adoption for the AI in medical sciences. One of the aspects, this current the CME is really a great initiative. Along the same lines, I suggest we have to incorporate the AI education for medical students. Just using the AI as a hard is just black box for providing some estimations will not be that much helpful. If we have more insights, more mathematical modeling being brought into these models, that will help really provide better explainable deep learning accurate models, and that require that there is good collaboration, good understanding of the AI aspects for the medical students, and similarly of the medical domain topics for the AI and CS students. There need to be more interdisciplinary collaboration, then more administrative support for even travel, for groups, conferences, hackathons, joint workshops, more research funding support. If that be initiative, that will really help to grow and make some potentially good innovative solutions based on AI in medical sciences. The key thing in the AI, as highlighted earlier also, is the quality data. So currently, the practices are also I have been interacting with a couple of doctors in PGI. I noted that many of the things are still based on paper and so on, and they have very good reasons for doing that with the kind of crowd they get and with kind of the good features that paper provides, easy to maintain and comprehend and other things like that. So. But however, we need to really upscale and also provide the enhanced digital infrastructure and training and get the data collected, preserved, and shared in some way, anonymization or some normalization to be done so that it can be shared across different collaborators or maybe publicly available for the enhancement of research. Then there are certainly, we need to address some ethical concerns, the regulatory challenges, so that the privacy concerns or the security concerns of the patient's data or the medical expert's data is not compromised. So I think these suggestions, if been adopted, will really help further grow the AI in medical sciences in India. So thank you. Thanks for the opportunity. Any questions and comments? Most welcome.
Thank you, Dr. Puneet, for giving valuable information on the current Indian scenario. I just want to ask if there is any particular training course or for this AI for us, means for medical educators.
It's an interesting question. I think there are some generally short-term courses or the I would say some short-term courses, conferences or workshops being organized. But I think what my personal experience is like, if there is a targeted audience, like let's say Aiims Bilaspur or even the Institute of Medical Sciences, the State Institute of Medical Sciences, I think in Mohali also they were contacting us that if we can have dedicated course for their students. So giving more time, spending the students with the students in person, I think that will help. But right now, we as IT Roper are not offering right now any such course. But I think that can be explored, certainly explored, and that will be really very helpful.
Okay.
Either the students visit us IT Roper or some of the professors from here we visit the Aiims Bilaspur. That will be really helpful.
Thank you. Certainly, we'll like to call you and get help.
Sure, I would be happy to visit, given that is scheduled in some appropriate times. Yeah, there's some one more question.
I wanted to ask, sir, what are the
Yeah.
disadvantages of using AI in the healthcare system?
I'm not able to hear.
What are the disadvantages of using AI in the healthcare system? And where India is going in the right direction, or downstream 10 to 15 years, where India will stand?
You're working on disadvantages or advantages? I could not get to hear you. Disadvantages, right?
Yes, sir. Disadvantages.
Yeah, I think if, like as I mentioned, if we have not explored the explainability and trustworthiness aspects, then certainly using AI straight away for very crucial decision making aspects is certainly going to be a challenge. See, the AI is right now getting utilized for the medical sciences or the healthcare informatics at different level. If we were to, like, let's say we have to provide some dose of the particular, let's say, anesthesia dosage or some other thing like that, just based on the AI, that may be quite disadvantageous if there are not medical experts involved. There are a lot of certainly challenges and disadvantages right now, I feel, if we were to use the AI for the crucial decision making aspects without human intervention. But that's why the reasons are there that we have been working, the researchers are working in developing the explainable and the trustworthy, robust models addressing the adversarial attacks in the medical imaging domain also, so that we can have the more robust system. But there are many other aspects also in healthcare, providing healthcare services, which do not, like, even if the results are here and there, but that can give you an early alert system. Let's say some ECG alert and other things like that, for better monitoring of your health and BP and other things, so that you can get to meet your doctor or other paramedical staff early. For that, I think AI is playing a very good role and it needs to be nurtured. But for making a crucial decision making, we have to be very careful unless or until the system has been thoroughly, robustly tested. In future, I really feel that that the different aspects of the AI coming from chatbots, virtual assistants, and the kind of the scaling issues that we face, the limited workforce that we have, AI is going to play a very huge, crucial role in medical domain in India.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much for such an interesting and informative talk. The Pam would like to say something.
Thank you, Dr. Puneet. It was very interesting. And I must say that you rightly said that we got to train medical students as well as the faculty. And I know the future language in medical schools is soon going to be, apart from medical language, it is going to be Python. So I hope and wish that we we work on the same platform. Thank you so much for your elaborated talk. Thank you.
Sure. Thank you.
Now we move to our next session, session 2. For this, I would like to request our chairpersons. There will be 2 more chairpersons. Dr. Anupam Prashar ma'am, Professor and Head Department of Community Medicine. Ma'am will join online. Welcome you, ma'am. Can you hear me?
Hello. Hello, good afternoon. Dr. Bhageshwari, am I audible?
Yes, ma'am, you are audible now.
Okay, thank you so much. A very warm welcome to all the delegates for the second session of CME on artificial intelligence, an emerging trend in medical science. First of all, my sincere thanks to Dr. Nidhi, Chairperson, and Dr. Sanjay, Organizing Secretary, for providing this opportunity to chair a session on AI and emerging and current issue. So as we are all part of a teaching hospital, it becomes essential that we discuss the application of AI in teaching and learning methods and assessment in medical education. And everybody has highlighted also that we need to teach the trainers as well as the teachers as well as the students on this. So without wasting any time, I would like to invite the first speaker, Dr. Yogesh, for his talk. But before that, I would like to hand over the proceedings to the chairpersons on site for introducing the speakers. Thank you so much.
I would also like to invite Dr. Sushila Rana ma'am, Professor and Head Department of Anatomy at SLBS GMCH Nechonk, Mandi. Ma'am, please kindly come forward to chair the session. I request Dr. Sushila Rana ma'am to kindly introduce our first speaker, Dr. Yogesh Sontate sir. Please, ma'am.
Hello, ma'am. Am I audible?
Yes, sir, you are audible. Welcome, sir.
Thank you. Welcome. Thank you, ma'am.
Very informative. I think the most importance of this topic. Gradually, it will be trying to integrate into our schedule. And so I will introduce the Dr. Yogesh Kambake, who is presently working as additional professor in the Department of Anatomy at DIPMA, Pondicherry. A second award of excellence in medical education, Dr. Kambake has authored many books, including popular textbooks in anatomy, embryology, and histology. He also has a remarkable contribution to the digital e-platform for faculties and students learning and has expertise in Adobe Illustrators and Premiere Pro software. He has 57 publications in various national and international journals. Currently, he is working on the immunohistochemistry and confocal microscopy related extramural projects. Dr. Kambake is also editor and editor board members in many national and international journals. And this topic, I think it will be very beneficial, especially in the research fields. So we will be able to people more transition. So
the topic, the topic
Am I audible? Okay, it was not clearly audible. Should I start presentation?
Yes, sir, you can start presentation.
Okay, fine. Welcome all. Thank you for the opportunity. Today I am going to discuss about the applications of artificial intelligence in medical teaching and learning. Before I start my talk, I want to thank Professor Dr. V. Singh Negi, Executive Director, Aiims Bilaspur, Professor Sanjay Vikrant, Dean Academics, Professor Nidhi Puri, Professor Sanjay Kumar, Dr. Bhagyashri, Dr. Sachin, Dr. Monali, Dr. Sushan, and entire Department of Anatomy for organizing this CME and for their continuous support. So many things are there in our mind about the artificial intelligence. Lot of myths are there and lot of discussion is going on. In earlier talks also we heard. So few myths I want to discuss, that will this artificial intelligence replace the medical teachers? Of course, the answer is no. It is just the helping hand for us. Long back when computers were invented and they came in picture, that time many people says that computer will snatch the job of many people. But it has not yet happened, and computers are now became part and parcel of our lifestyle. So similarly, artificial intelligence is also like that. Just we have to learn the artificial intelligence, we have to learn the utility of this artificial intelligence. Then is the artificial intelligence is available right now for the use in only big institution? My answer is no. Even in day-to-day life activity, we can start using artificial intelligence, and it is freely available in many forms. Now we have to understand what are the artificial intelligence or what are the computer assistants available for the medical teaching purposes. This artificial intelligence in medical teaching and learning is specifically useful for the personalized learning, automated assessments, and predictive analytics. So these are the basics of this artificial intelligence or utility of artificial intelligence in the medical teaching. Whenever we are going to see some student, we can assess using artificial intelligence to that students, and we can advise in which zone the student performance is less. We can advise which lesson he can go and learn more and more. So these are the basic utilities of the artificial intelligence. I'm not going in details of this one, but I want to make you aware what are the platforms or what are the artificial intelligence tools, AI tools available right now in the use for the medical education. When we say that there is an adaptive learning platform is available, then virtual reality platforms are available, medical image analysis tools are available, natural language processing tools, automated assessment tools, and chatbots are available. So lot of things are currently available. If we want to discuss, it is a very long thing, but we will discuss in short each and every point. So what is adaptive learning? Adaptive learning, it is just a shift from our olden age learning, what we have undergone or what our teachers have undergone, and now the time is changing, era is changing, and we have to adapt or acquire the adaptive learning mechanisms. So these adaptive learning platforms are in existence to create interactive and personalized learning. As we know that our students strata are different. Some students are the slow learners, some are high achiever students, some are mid-range students. So depending on the student's ability, we have to provide the learning, or we have to provide the knowledge based on his ability, capability, or his acquiring capacity. So that is the adaptive learning, and AI is useful to create such a platforms. Then adaptive lessons and assessments, online courses, interactive content, assessments and quizzes can be easily generated using the artificial intelligence. We have to analyze the students' performance continuously. Nowadays, we can see that our classes are full of students. Initially, only 50 to 60 students in each institute. But nowadays, 150, 200, 250 medical students are there in each class. So it is very difficult to analyze each and every student. Of course, human brain is more efficient to analyze, but now we need support in analyzing the students, analyzing the need of the students. So these adaptive learning platforms also uses helpful for analyzing the students' need, and based on the each individual need, we can provide the feedback. Individual feedback will be there. Individual, not only feedback, we have to tell, okay, in this section you are weak, so you go and read particular zone. So these are the assessments. Adaptive learning platforms are there which utilizes the artificial intelligence for analyzing. They provide personalized learning experiences based on the individual need and progress. So artificial intelligence is used right now in the Google Classroom, Smart Sparrow, Open Learning. These are nothing but the platforms which Google Classroom is just the basic, because now also we are in the revolving phase. If we go and utilizes a big platforms, we are not able to handle it. Our students are not able to handle it. So we can start in the day-to-day life using the Google Classroom. We can post some tests, we can post some assessments, and by the data generated, that generated data we can utilize in the other AI platform for analyzing our students. So these are the few things. The next is the virtual reality simulators. So these virtual reality simulators utilizes the artificial intelligence for two things: for training purposes and for assessment purposes also. There are certain platforms which are available, AI platforms for training. For example, also VR, it is the surgical training platform. This also VR, we will see a few videos about it. One, then CMAX, it is the medical simulation platform to practice the clinical procedure. There are a lot of clinical procedures, examinations, lumbar puncture, or some other procedures that can be practiced in surgical theater, VR patients, fundamental surgery. These are certain platforms which are currently available. For example, also VR, this is the surgical training platform. It also utilizes the artificial intelligence. See, in this patient, suppose for example, the nailing of the tibia, what procedures need to be done, what instruments need to be utilized, so that can be trained using the virtual reality. In this platform, it also analyzes the accuracy of the performer. So it utilizes the artificial intelligence. At the end of the procedure, we will expose the student to perform this surgery, and at the end, the computer will analyze the performance quality of the student, at what step he stopped, at what stage he done some mistake, and that how it can be rectified. So analysis also will be done by this software, not only training but analysis of the surgical procedure. Then immersive touch is the another training techniques that utilizes the artificial intelligence. This will replace the future surgical planning and training programs. This immersive technique, there are certain touch pains, and like a virtual reality or like a mixed reality, the person can perform the surgery before he is going to perform on the live individual. This also gives a better performance access to the individual. So this virtual reality using the immersive touch is the another technique. So all these are useful in day-to-day life, medical training and teaching purposes. Then another thing, the purpose of this medical entire system, training system, is to make the undergraduate student competent to diagnose the patient, to advise some tests, to analyze the patient's reports, and to suggest medication and the treatment. So most difficult part is the diagnosis. Now artificial intelligence comes in picture to help the medical fraternity for the better diagnosis. It utilizes the huge medical data. Already the medical data is fed in the system, and when we fed our patient data based on the previous fed data, it analyzes. Some of them are the IBM Watson Health, Google DeepMind Health. Is Google DeepMind Health, they have stopped this program, but still it is existing right now. Other Health, then Babylon Health and Infomedia. These are the AI platforms. For example, this IBM Watson, this Merative, this is the platform which utilizes the patient data. We have to feed our patient data, and based on our feed and based on the previously fed data, it matches, it analyzes, and it interprets the data, and finally it gives us the suggestive diagnosis of the patient. So what is our exactly the patient output? So it assesses the entire information. Another thing, it gives suggestions for the treatment of the patient. So this is very helpful platform. Then another for training platform is DXR Clinician. So this DXR Clinician is the another platform for the doctor. Actually, it is the training platform. It is the online virtual patient system, and it is useful for teachers as well as for the students to develop the problem solving skill. How it works actually in this program or in this software, there are already fed data is there which is having certain patient data. So we have to select some particular patient, and after selecting the case, the student can ask the question, or student can do the physical examination. After that, one student can do the some lab test on that patient. Everything is computerized actually. When some questions student ask, it will give answer whatever already fed in the system. The clinical examination, student has to select what clinical examination he want to do, whether he want to do the auscultation or what. After selecting the auscultation, he can select the area where he want to auscultate, and once he touches to that area, he can hear this sound of what we are hearing through the stethoscope. That sound can be heard through the computer. So such a clinical examinations are also possible, even eye examinations or other things. Finally, student has to provide some diagnosis. So what student is providing the diagnosis after test, after evaluation, and what the data has already fed, that comparison will be given. And finally, there will be the management system which analyzes the student's activity, and he provides the feedback to the students what steps he has missed or what mistake he has done, what things he can do in the better way. So this is also utilizing the artificial intelligence for analyzing the students. Even certain if some doctor is using this one, some faculty is using this one, they can generate some own cases also. They can feed some own cases also. Then another thing, nowadays we are utilizing picture archiving and communication system and radiology information system. PACS and RIS are currently in use for handling, storing, retrieval and management and distribution of the X-ray, CT scan and MRI images. So these are useful for the system actually, and this system is useful for analyzing and creating the 3D images from the given data actually. Then there are another platform which are called as the AI-based medical imaging, particularly for the breast cancers. These are useful, for example, quantitative insight, then screen point medical and whole pair solutions, Cure Matrix, so clarity imaging. These are the AI-based medical imaging softwares which are useful for particularly focusing the breast cancers. Then another thing we have to discuss about the natural language processing. The natural language processing leave about this complicated language. In the simple thing, When you ask some question, I am answering, or when I answer, you are analyzing, you are understanding. You are asking me question in a particular language. For example, in English, you are asking some question. I have to understand that, I have to interpret, and then I have to give the answer. So all these things are happening using the artificial intelligence. Oh my God. So term is very big. Natural language processing. Nothing to worry. There are so many platforms which are available. For example, Apache CTEX systems. So these Apache CTEX systems, these are the platforms which are analyzing our language. Our language, not only the spoken language, written language also. For example, patient's case sheet I have created, and which is having a huge information like what is the physical examination, what are the complaints, what are the treatment given, what are the operation or clinical test suggested, what are the findings of that one, what is the sign, what are the signs suggested. So lot of data I have fed. So this utilizes the artificial intelligence to segregate the data, to generate the new data, and to store that data particularly. In the next time when I want to utilize that data, so it will help us in the diagnosis and for the suggestions of the treatment purposes. So this is another platform which is useful. Natural language processing is easily understood by our day-to-day life AI assistants. For example, Alexa, Siri, Google Assistant. So they are analyzing what you are saying. So you say something, hey Siri, answer this call, or you say something, Alexa, what is the temperature right now? So they understand what you are saying. So natural language processing is occurring there. They process the command, what you have said, and based on your command, they create the answer, and then they answer your question. So it is also the part of the artificial intelligence. Now currently the boom is there, Chat GPT. Artificial intelligence platform. What is exactly this Chat GPT? It is nothing but a chatbot developed by the OpenAI and launched in November 2022. This is the highest used platform in the entire world. So Chat GPT, very simple thing. Like Google, what you are doing in the Google, you are typing something and Google is showing the result. But Google is showing the result, whatever available, whatever stored results are there. Chat GPT is little bit at a higher version. It analyzes the question, it analyzes the fed information, and it creates the new response. For example, here I have asked the question, very funny question, can I learn anatomy myself? This I have asked. Then ChatGPT has generated the answer, and it has given lot of things, lot of points wise it has given the answer, and finally it said, remember that learning anatomy takes time and effort, but with persistence and dedication, you can learn this fascinating subject on your own. So this is the answer that ChatGPT has given. ChatGPT can write essay for you. ChatGPT can help in solving the assignment for the students. See, this is only the help. It cannot replace the human being. It is only the help that artificial intelligence can do it. For example, I have given the command to ChatGPT, write an essay on levator lapis superioris alicinase muscle. So it has given beautifully the write-up, what is the role of this one, what is the anatomy, what is the function of this muscle. So it can help us in the writing. It writes on the available fed data to this ChatGPT. Google shows only what is available on certain website, what is available in Wikipedia, what is available in some research article that Google shows. But ChatGPT can write it in its own language. So that is the utility or beauty of the artificial intelligence. For example, very big paragraph I am seeing that one about the biceps brachii muscle, and I have told ChatGPT to convert this big paragraph into point wise. So ChatGPT has converted a big paragraph into bullet points, point 1, 2, 3, 4, like that one. It has converted. So this is the capability of the ChatGPT. It can make questions also. I have asked ChatGPT to create a question about the origin of biceps brachii muscle. But sometimes I don't like it completely, because when I say that create the question about the origin of biceps brachii muscle, What it is doing, it is creating the question. See, the question has created is about the origin as well as about the function of the biceps brachii. I am not happy with that one. So what answer ChatGPT has generated, I have to analyze it, whether it is useful, whether it is correct, or it is partially useful. So it is like that one. There are certain limitations of ChatGPT. ChatGPT many times don't give answer to everything. This is also the assumption that artificial intelligence knows everything. No, it is not like that one. It don't know many things. For example, I have asked ChatGPT about quillbot. The spelling mistake I did purposefully. Instead of bot, I have written boat. So ChatGPT said, I don't know. So this is the thing actually. That means we have, but Google can search. If I write even the quillbot, Google will show the results for the quillbot. So that is the difference between the Google and ChatGPT. For example, I have given command to ChatGPT, draw a diagram of foramen lacerum. So, the ChatGPT currently available is unable to draw the diagram for the foramen lacerum. But if I search the foramen lacerum diagram on the Google, it can show. But this is the existing ChatGPT. ChatGPT 3.5. So now, very recently, they have launched ChatGPT 4, and which is excellent, far better. It can write poems, it can even show you the pictures. Even if you fade the picture, it can analyze that picture and it can give you answers about that pictures. So it is currently under the development in the progressive phase. I have given one funny command here also, write a poem on biceps brachii. Frankly speaking, I have never thought that someone can write a poem about biceps brachii, but yes, ChatGPT has written the poem on biceps brachii also. So artificial intelligence, they are intelligent, they are doing it. So this is the thing. Then another platform. See, this ChatGPT, why I want to tell you, ChatGPT extensions are available free of cost for Google Chrome. All are using Google Chrome or many other things. So these extensions can be added there, like that one. Quillbot is the another extension which can be added and we can start using in our day-to-day life. No need to wait, no need to pay anything. This Quillbot is the online paraphrasing tool. It eliminates the grammar errors and paraphrase the content. Lot of confusion, nothing. It is very simple. It gives you some option. For example, I have copied one paragraph from one article, or I have written one paragraph and I want to rephrase it. I am not liking it properly. So I will just paste it here, and after pasting in one zone, I will just I will click on the rephrase and it will give the answer. It will show you after paraphrasing how it looks. So it restructure the entire paragraph. It gives even the option, you can click on the certain words like this mean word or good word. Once you click it, it will give the synonyms also, what other synonyms can be used. If you are not happy with this one, you again rephrase it, it will give another result. So this is also the what is the artificial intelligence, what it is using for rephrasing. For teaching, whiteboard animation softwares are there. They are also utilizing the artificial intelligence. What data you have fed and what it can do is the whiteboard animation software. There are many other softwares which are easily available for our teaching purposes. My Simple Show, Animaker, Video Scribe, Doodly. So there are the many softwares. This Doodly is the video maker software. Dr. Ujjwala from Aiims Kalyani and I have created around 1100 videos of drawing the diagrams. This also utilizes the artificial intelligence. We are going to release it very soon in the platform of digital anatomy. So this also utilizes the artificial intelligence. Like that one, many platforms are there, like a Doodly. These are called as the doodle makers, and we can utilize in our day-to-day teaching purposes also. Then auto draw, this also can be utilized for teaching purposes. For example, here we can see some shape is drawn, and this random shape is getting converted into the perfect shape. Even if we draw the circle, if it is not perfect, it will convert it into perfect circle. Here bicycle, it has converted into the proper cycle. So the new boom is going to come with the Microsoft 365 Copilot. This Copilot is not yet launched. This is just a preview what you are seeing here. What is this Copilot? See, somebody has created chatbot, somebody has created Quillbot. Microsoft, what they will do? Do you think that they will sit quiet? They will keep quiet? No, they are going to release very soon the Copilot. And this Copilot will utilize the artificial intelligence, and it will take the computing systems at a very high level. Here, there will be certain limitations to chat GPT or other things, but Microsoft, we are using Microsoft PowerPoint, we are using Microsoft Excel, we are using Microsoft PowerPoint, we are using Microsoft Word. So this Microsoft Copilot will integrate everything. For example, you have Excel sheet and entire data of your students. You just select the data and you just analyze the data. It will analyze in its own manner, and it will give you the result. What is the performance of student? What is the attendance of student? Correlations of that. Everything, whatever possible ways, it will provide you the input. So this is the another Copilot is going to come. It is not yet released. Then artificial intelligence uses the text to the speech conversion also. So for example, I want to create some video for my teaching purposes. So I have a written text. I am not having any recording device, nothing to worry. There are some softwares or the applications like Synthesia, Google Text to Speech, Amazon Poly, Speechelo. They converts this text into the speech. So for example, Speechelo is the software which has the artificial intelligence voices, and that AI voices, they looks like a real human. They have lot of local languages also, like British English, Indian English, US English, German, Tamil, Hindi. So lot of languages they have, and you can just type and it will convert the text into the audio. So that is there. Then there are certain software which can convert the text into the video. That is the InVideo, Synthesia, Vid.io, Pictory, Premiere Pro. So these are the software which converts the text into the video also. So like that one. Suppose for example, I want to create one video. I am using the Synthesia software. Just type something. There will be the avatar, which is the artificial human. And this artificial human will start speaking whatever you have typed. So it utilizes the artificial intelligence, how this girl is talking. So it is nothing but the avatar. That is the artificial human, which is the computerized human. And they start speaking like this one. So these are currently in use. Then background removal. So in anatomy, we need some images which can remove the background easily. So add a Photoshop, remove BG, then clipping magic, Canva, Pixel Z. So these are the certain software which we can utilize to remove the background. For example, here you can see that that one background is there, and on another side there is no background. So this remove BG is also very easy. We just have to select the photograph, and after selecting the photograph, you just upload the photograph. For example, we have uploaded this eagle with the blue background, and we have to just process it. After processing, we can find out the another eagle without any background, and this we can download and we can utilize it in our PowerPoint or in Word file or Excel sheet. Anywhere we can utilize this one very easily. So these are the some AI tools which can be useful for removing the background. Similarly, we can even remove the background from the videos also. We can remove the background from green screen, particularly using the unscreen remove BG, Adobe Premiere Pro. So there are a lot of softwares which are using removal of the background. For example, this is the VidBG background remover app. So here the video is uploaded and immediately the command has given and it has removed the background. So these are so easy. Similarly, the green screen, what you are seeing behind me is the green screen, and this green screen can be easily removed from the videos using the Premiere Pro, there is the effect called as the Ultra K effect. So it utilizes the artificial intelligence in the background. It analyzes which is the image and which is the background. So it analyzes, that analysis is required. And based on that analysis, it removes the background. So these are some things actually. So what is my take home message? If we have to learn the artificial intelligence tools for teaching and learning, it is need of time. If we are not going to learn, we will be thrown out of the mainstream. So you understand, as a teacher, we have to learn. Once upon a time, there was resistance from the teacher side that we don't want to learn the computer. Now everyone has learned the computer. Similarly, now the resistance is there that we don't want to learn the AI. No, it is not like that one. We have to learn, otherwise we will thrown out of the mainstream. So this is about the artificial intelligence. I hope so you like this one. Jai Hind, any question from your side? You can ask me now.
Audience want to ask any questions?
Because somebody already practical approach to assess a student.
Manisha ma'am, you want to ask something?
One from online delegates?
Sir, good afternoon, sir.
Sir.
Am I audible? Hello, sir.
Yes, sir. Please, sir.
Sir, I have a doubt. How can you use AI for teaching neuroanatomy for MBBS PhD students? I think it is very tough subject. So, is there any method from AI side?
Yes, sir. We can utilize this artificial intelligence particularly in the difficult topics such as the neuroanatomy, because many structures and the neuronal pathways are not visible using the normal dissection actually. They have to imagine many things. So if we utilizes the virtual reality platform using the artificial intelligence, we can easily use. See, there are the different types. One is the teaching purpose. Okay, virtual reality model we can give. Then we have to analyze whether they have understood the model what we have given on the virtual reality. That also using artificial intelligence we can analyze there, we can assess them. So both the things we can do using the artificial intelligence. We have to select particularly a suitable platform.
Sir, thanks a lot.
Thank you. Thank you, sir.
Yes, Dr. Yogesh, that was a very informative talk.
Thank you.
On the new subject. One question I had regarding there must be some human resources controlling this AI as such?
Yes, of course. Okay, AI has to be controlled by the human, of course. If, like see, artificial intelligence is just a tool or weapon. We have to utilize that weapon. For example, I have shown one example, Chat GPT. Chat GPT is sometimes giving wrong answers also. So we cannot believe their answers 100%. We have to analyze their answers. For example, Quillbot I have asked, so it is not giving correct answer. For example, I have told Chat GPT to generate one question on biceps brachii origin. So instead of origin, it is asking function also. So whether that question is suitable, like that one, many times it gives wrong answers also.
Yes.
So that we have to analyze actually. We can't believe
And
them.
regarding Chat GPT also, one thing you said about writing essays also. So I think that will lead to losing the creative ability of the students also in schools.
No.
What do you say?
When I ask them to write the essay, I will ask them soft copy, and we have authenticate. We will and the Google. We will put it in the Google, and we will tell them you have not written this one. ChatGPT has written them. We will use artificial intelligence for their analysis also.
Okay. Thank you.
The work of students and increase the work of teachers.
I am not able to hear, ma'am.
Sir, this is Dr. Shushant. Sir, I wanted to ask one question.
Please.
Sir, you mentioned about Chat GPT and Quillbot. Sir, what are your thoughts on the plagiarism effect on the use of Chatbot GPT and the Quillbot?
Sir, not audible, sir.
What are your thoughts? Okay. Sir, what are your thoughts on the plagiarism effect on the Chat GPT use and the Quillbot use?
No, of course, we should use everything. It is not like that one. We are using internet, we are using Google, why not Chat GPT? I feel that no, we should use it. And what answers Chat GPT is giving, we have to analyze that answer. It is not like that we can't believe blindly. Little bit we can believe on Google, but we can't believe in Chat GPT 100% because it is using its own interpretation, and the interpretation may be right or wrong actually. Like one movie long back we have seen in PK, they have mentioned one dialogue that is I like chicken. So I like chicken means lot of different aspects are there in this sentence. ChatGPT cannot understand that meaning of the I like chicken. Maybe non-vegetarian likes chicken for eating. Lucknow people like the chicken was on their dress, or somebody maybe bird lover likes the chicken as a bird. So it depends actually what is the meaning of that one, and ChatGPT cannot interpret the emotions or cannot interpret the colloquial language actually. So colloquial language is something different that ChatGPT cannot understand. Like Alexa also cannot understand the colloquial language. What command we have fed in the Alexa or Siri, that commands they can understand. So it is like that one. We have to use it judiciously. We have to interpret their feedback based on our own intelligence.
Sir, because the sentences which are being made by the Quillbot are picked by the plagiarism software and they are marked as plagiarism. So that was my main idea.
Plagiarism software, according to me itself, are the questionable. See, the reason is that they are saying that somebody has said that we are Homo sapiens. So if you write this sentence, I will also write I am Indian. So you will also write same sentence. I will also write same sentence. So somebody will say that no, this sentence is written earlier already and it is under the plagiarism, so we should not bother for this one. Actually, I feel that one. So Chat GPT or Quillbot has written something, they will mark definitely plagiarism, but it is depends on how we are taking it actually. We should not say that all sentences are under plagiarism. Plagiarism means, I feel that just somebody has written, we have just copy pasted as it is. So that should not happen actually. Rephrasing is always required. Sometimes we write something, I don't like the word, we have to, in word file, we just right click and we search the synonym. Because I am not comfortable with the written synonym. So that is also okay. I feel that one. 100% copy should not be there after paraphrasing from the Quillbot or Chat GPT. We have to rephrase it, everything on our own language.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Okay. Hello, Dr. Jogesh. I am Dr. Ranjit.
Yes, sir.
So, excellent deliberation. Actually, I am very delighted to see that a galaxy of softwares are just coming, which are using artificial intelligence in such a smart way that will upskill. Actually, these are not supplementary or complementary to the traditional, but these will help tremendously to upskill the knowledge and skill for updating and upskilling. And very beautifully we can have this. So I'm eagerly waiting when you will come up with this thing because we are really interested. And thank you very much for this wonderful deliberation on using artificial intelligence, how we are prepared. And I have gathered quite a smattering of the important information which I was not knowing. Now I will try to use all these things. So thank you very much for enriching my knowledge, and all the participants, I think, have benefited from your deliberation. Very good. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for sharing your vast knowledge and experience with us. And we are also grateful to you.
Thank you.
Anupam ma'am, you want to ask something?
I just want to congratulate Dr. Yogesh for his wonderful presentation. And I think now the time has come that we should be including certain topics. We should be deciding which topics from AI are needed to be included in the medical curriculum. Only then we'll be able to move forward in this direction. We need to teach our students also regarding this. And that is what I want to say. And probably we are using this in our data analysis also, this your AI thing, because in this transcription and all, in qualitative data analysis, we are using all this, the softwares, we are using this for transcription. I was not aware of that, but after that, your talk, I realized that we are using all these things earlier also. And certainly we need to include this thing into the medical curriculum also. Thank you so much for your enlightening talk, Dr. Yogesh.
Thank you, madam.
Thank you, sir. Really, it was a very informative talk. And we are highly grateful to you for giving and sparing your time from your busy schedule. Thank you so much, sir, for joining us.
Thank you.
Now we move to our next speaker. So I would like to request Dr. Poonam Verma ma'am to kindly introduce our second speaker.
Next speaker for session 2 is the key person of this CME, Dr. Nidhi Puri. So I welcome Dr. Nidhi Puri. Nidhi Puri is working as a teacher, professor, and head of the Department of Anatomy at Aiims Bilaspur. She is the organizing chairperson of this CME. She has written more than 40 publications in various international and national journals, and 2 chapters in book. She has been awarded with rubber grant twice for the presentation in international conferences. Today she will speak on role of artificial intelligence in assessment in medical education. So I welcome madam.
Thank you, madam, for your kind words, and good afternoon all. Since morning we have been talking about artificial intelligence and its role in various aspects of the medical science. And just now also Dr. Yogesh Sontake, we had a wonderful talk from him where he discussed how we can use artificial intelligence in teaching and learning programs. So I will be, as ma'am said, that I will be discussing its role in assessment. So since long we have been seeing that there is an ongoing change in the, you can say, the medical field. It is developing at a faster pace, especially since last 10 years. There is much use of technology into the medical science, and it has totally changed the scenario for clinicians. So at the same time, it has also changed the scenario from the point of view of the expectations of the patients. So the expectation of the patient has also changed from time to time. In yesteryears, when we were just depending upon the clinical expertise for diagnosis with few rudimentary investigative procedures and very less amount of literature which was present for, which was difficult to retrieve also. But today, apart from the medical expertise, we can also have a full, you can say, assistance from very advanced tools and lot of vast medical literature which is easily available. And apart from the diagnostic tools, we are also heading towards real change in the surgical field also, or the procedural fields, where it was very invasive to begin with. And we are moving on to minimal invasive, which has not only lessened the complications, but also the stay in the hospitals. And this is how the total scenario in medical science is changing at this time. So, and we know that we have just seen since morning that how the presence of artificial intelligence is taking on a bigger role into the medical practice, and I'm sure it is going to be even larger in future. So the question arises: what skill sets and mindsets we are required to know, and the clinicians which are they are required to can say they are required to have in this new era of artificial intelligence. And at the same time, are the current evaluation methods which are deployed for the students, are these adequate to assess the budding doctors? And just before this present talk, Dr. Sontake very nicely explained how there is a change going on in the learning processes also, and what all we can add into how the technology can be added into our learning process. So we have also seen with the technology advancement, the library has come into our hands from those shelves of the books in the form of tablet or mobile phone, and the books in the form of PDF. And I know most of the students, they are not even buying books, isn't it? So at the same time, the skill learning is coming, it has changed from a real patient experience to the simulators or augmented or virtual reality. And we know that learning and assessment, they are complementary to each other. If we learn better, we will be having better evaluation, or we will be assessed in a better manner. If we have a good assessment, we will try to learn more also. So in this way, there is change in the learning methods, so that drives us to develop some innovative technologies in the assessment also. Since last 10 years, there has been a lot of use of technology, as we saw in Dr. Puneet's presentation also, how the use of technology has increased over all these 10 years, but use of artificial intelligence has been it has increased more since the COVID pandemic. And artificial intelligence can generate assessment tasks. It can find appropriate peers to work, to grade the work, and automatically score the students' work. And it can definitely decrease the burden of human teachers. Definitely, we all as medical educators also understand how difficult it is to maintain the assessment records. So it is definitely decreasing the burden. Plus, it is also making assessment more feasible and accurate with the use of artificial intelligence. So we have also come across, we have seen that there is in 2019 there was a change of curriculum for the medical undergraduate students, which was changed to competency based to make the undergraduate students more globally relevant, and it was more stress and there is a separate module for assessment, and more stress is laid for the feedback, or sorry, the formative assessment. And at the same time, the students are continuously assessed for the patient care and communication and skill expertise. And similarly, postgraduate curriculum also was changed to the competency based just a few months back. And this also stresses more on the formative assessment. And even here in Aiims Bilaspur, we have developed with our it's a guide under the guidance of Dr. Poonam Verma. We have all developed a PG curriculum, which is also more you can say competency based, and it requires more of the formative assessment. The students will be assessed more frequently for formative assessment. So in nutshell, we find that we got to assess the students on the basis of knowledge, on the basis of skill, and in the affective domain. So for that, since we have adult students who are undergoing learning, and so the pedagogical learning is the best method of pedagogical learning is that they should be self-motivated, and there is a separate module for self-directed learning also. So it is better to assess themselves what they have learned, and accordingly they should get the feedback. So there are computerized adaptive testing methods or systems which are we can find many softwares using these systems, or there are these are present online also, through which students can assess themselves. And this CAT method of assessment is very useful because it guides the students to improve the performance and achieve a particular competency. At the same time, it is adaptive to the user's ability. So that is why it is very important and useful for the slow learners also. Then we all assess the students for the knowledge purpose, and that is mostly done in the form of theory exams. And we know that the students, they have to undertake MCQs, short answer questions, long answer questions, and problem based questions also, or case based questions. So this for MCQs we can utilize this again computerized adaptive testing systems, which are actually being utilized by various you can say agencies who are conducting examination, MCQ based examination for larger number of students. Similarly, there are certain other models which are intelligent models, and they are being used in various areas or various countries also. For example, I will talk about the intelligent multi-level item banks. This is a you can say this is a model which is being used in Thailand to undertake under national level undergraduate tests. This model is basically is not only giving us the assessment, but it is also forming questions. For this, the processing of this model must have been very, you can say, elaborate, because we have to feed not only the curriculum or the syllabus or the topics, but also the competency we require, objective of each topic we require, and then apart from that, even the lectures of the teachers who are teaching those students. So all these are the inputs of this which are processed, and ultimately these are generated in the form of questions, and later on they assess these questions also. Then another software which is formed by the intelligent dataset, which is Learning Cube, has been used by the Chen et al. and this data set designs questions which requires high cognitive skills to solve. So these you can say IMIP and Learning Q, they are not only used for assessment but also for forming a question paper. I think most of the teachers who are sitting here can correlate with this, that it is how difficult it is to form a question paper, and above all that we have to moderate it. Very difficult task. So we can use artificial intelligence or intelligent data sets to do this work for us. At the same time, there is another software I came across, that is MI Right. This software is a very interesting software. It can assess essay writing. So automated essay scoring can be done with this. And apart from that, it also gives a feedback on your writing skills. So as Dr. Sontaki also talked about, even chatbot, that that chat GPT, that he was asking certain questions and it was giving you answers. Though those answers we have to supervise definitely, but these answers, whether they are perfect or not, so similarly, so this MI Right is able to identify the gaps in our writing skills, and it can give us feedback on that. So this MI Right can also be utilized to you can say to improvise our research writing skills. Then the skill we are learning these days on as NMC curriculum also says that every medical institute should have a skill lab. So that means that practically we are using skill lab for learning various skills and expertise. So that means we got to assess our students on those skill models or the simulators, which may be a simulator or a simple just skill learning model. So we got to assess them on those because we are teaching through those. If or maybe it will be a regular practice in coming future also. So in that case, if we are using simulator to say to teach any skill, so in that case, if we use virtual reality and we combine it with this artificial intelligence, it will help us in giving us a score on the skill which student is learning. So this can be helpful. I think this can be very helpful in developing OSCE, you can say, related artificial intelligence model for assessment. And this Jani et al. Have used machine learning for providing an automated and accurate assessment in OSCEs, especially in communication skills and history taking. So that means machine learning can be used for OSCEs, but there are not much, you can say this area is not much researched. So we need to do some more research. For that, we have to develop a machine which is learned with the checklist which we develop. So those who have used artificial intelligence in OSCEs, they found there are certain benefits as well as there's some certain challenges they came across. So the benefits are that we can create a patient-based scenario, and the student can learn on that scenario and can do self-assessment on that scenario at any point of time and without any time limit. And at the same time, we can learn and get assessment about what skill we have learned on the simulator, which is just like quite similar to the real patient field. But at the same time, the challenges are when we are assessing on you can say skill-based learning, so it is not a real-time learning. So and the data which is fed may not be giving validated good validation. So that is a bigger loophole. Moreover, these you can say these models, which are AI-based models, they are very expensive. Not all institutes may be able to purchase it for the learning of the students. And moreover, the real patient feel is definitely much better than the you can say simulator-based learning. Then for postgraduate students and for those who are pursuing super specializations, we have seen since morning that there are many virtual reality related simulators on which they can learn expertise, especially the surgical based expertise. So if these virtual reality models are again combined with the artificial intelligence, so these models can give us very good scoring, not only on the numerical basis, but also it will tell us about the proficiency levels also. So that before going for surgery on a real patient, we can make ourselves experts in through the simulator use, and we should aim for a particular level of assessment also. So Mirchi et al. Have used Neuro VR. They have done a research and used a Neuro VR platform for for the neurosurgical trainings for the super specialists, and because they again used this virtual reality model, simulator based model with artificial intelligence, and here we can see this. This model is giving, this platform can give immediately metric the score of the performance, as well as it can also identify the whether the person is still novice or has got the expertise. So it was well discussed in the previous lecture also that we can generate a lot of I can say our research writing from the chatbot also, and with ChatGPT a lot of things are going on, and I'm sure much more with the further updation, I'm sure it is going to give us more and more information, and maybe more helpful in say developing our projects also, research projects. So in that case, since we know that the postgraduate students and the super specialist students, they have to do a dissertation writing or a project in the form of thesis. At the same time, there are many agencies which are also promoting undergraduate research projects. So how do we analyze or assess those? We can assess, as we discussed earlier also, that the plagiarism check. So the plagiarism check can be used with the help of many AI induced or AI generated softwares. And for among them, Turnitin, I think, is the most popularly used software through which we do the plagiarism check for the similarities. Yes, of course, as we discussed in the previous lecture, it was discussed by Dr. Sonteke also, that we have to supervise this plagiarism or the similarity which has been developed by, or which is predicted by the software, AI generated software. So we have to supervise it manually also, because we have to ignore certain languages which are not normally used. Then there is another software like Originally AI, which can use if we have taken any written matter from scanned text. So it can identify, and we can come to know that, okay, this was somebody else's work which has been scanned and introduced into into their own writing without any referencing. Nowadays, as we discussed earlier also, that there are many chatbots, especially with the you can say chatbot in the market, or which is an open AI. There are many people who are using it for the research writing. So there are now even the you can say plagiarism check, the software which are checking the plagiarism, they have also updated themselves to identify the content which is generated through the AI. So this is how we can check our you can say the project writing or assess the project writing. And I have discussed earlier also that there is one software called MI which can help us in improvising our research writing also. So if we are using artificial intelligence in assessments, so there can be definitely there are many advantages. First of all, it is decreasing the burden of the teachers, and it is giving us automated assessment for all the students, and it is making assessment much easier and faster and accurate also. And it is it is assisting in peer assessment, means from your previous assessment records this is going to compare and assess accordingly. Then it also provides a continuous view of performance. If we are assessing through AI, it will be a continuous process, and the students can get feedback every now and then. And it has a personalized adaptability, so it is very useful for slow learners. But at the same time, we are facing many challenges which we have already discussed, which has been nicely discussed by other speakers too. That there is fear. We are very conventional as human beings. We do not want a change. So many of us don't want to change. We are happy with the conventional methods. And then another thing is that we also fear that if everything is being done by artificial intelligence, we might lose our jobs. So as Dr. Sontake has very nicely explained, that it is just like we learned computers, they did not snatch our jobs, but they became part of our working lifestyle. So similarly, I think artificial intelligence, if we take it that way, that it cannot take our job, but rather it cannot replace human beings, but rather it can add to, it can be beneficial because it will be decreasing our workload. So in that manner, we can use it, and definitely it will require input from us, because we all know that we cannot totally depend upon the algorithm which has been fed to any artificial intelligent software, because there is always the medical science is ever changing, so every time the algorithm has to be changed. So then next is that there's disadvantage, it is expensive, definitely. So this can be the issue with the stakeholders also. Then next is that black box of accountability. What is black box? Dr. Puneet did mention about the black box. The black box is we do not know how the algorithm which is fed to it, how it is coming out with the predictions. What is the process behind that? So that way, this is called as the black box. Now, in the era of legal, you can say, legal you can say, when there is legal cases, the students do against the misgrading of the any assessment. So in that case, it is very helpful and useful, because as a human teacher, I am out of the loop, so I'm not responsible. That is good for us, but at the same time, we are you can say shifting the bias on those who are not involved in learning and teaching of these students whom we are assessing, because we are shifting our bias on program designer, we are shifting our bias to some software you can say engineer who are not involved with the teaching. So this is what is accountability, which has a black box of accountability which need to be taken care of. Then it also restricts the pedagogical role of assessment. We as a teacher, we know that okay, these number of students, they need some leniency, even if they have not performed well. So we'll be lenient with them so that they perform well in later stage. At the same time, certain students, they should be punished, because they will be performing better if they are punished. So that is why we behave with you students like in a dual manner. So this is the emotional intelligence, which is very important in you can say assessing a student and giving a feedback. So that at this point of time, this is lacking. But I feel in future when we are you can say generating artificial neuro intelligence to the artificial intelligent models, so they may be helpful in this also. Then another thing is when we are assessing any student for communication skill, the language may be a big barrier, because in India we know at every 10 kilometers the language and the dialect also changes. So it is difficult for even the artificial intelligent model to assess the language. And and definitely most important is that these softwares are vulnerable to cyber security attacks. We have just seen many attacks. Even at Aiims Delhi also there was a cyber security attack. So similarly, these you can say softwares or these chatbots or OpenAI systems, they are all vulnerable to cyber security attacks, and they can algorithm can misclassify, and the assessments can go wrong also. So here comes the role of human. So to conclude, we say that artificial intelligence can provide continuous feedback, assess knowledge as well as skill, score proficiency or performance, check written content for similarity. It can definitely decrease the burden of medical professionals, thus providing more time for clinical practice and the research work. And but the cost, acceptability, and the change from the convention, cybersecurity breach, and black box accountability are the major hurdles, which I'm sure will be in future will be taken. So in short, we'll say we are not very far off from the time when artificial intelligence is going to be part of our lives and part of our work systems. Larger role of artificial intelligence, even becoming emotionally intelligent. Thank you all for your patient hearing and being a good patient listener throughout the day. I hope it was a learning experience for all of you. And thank you.
Thank you, madam, for enlightening us about the use of AI in assessment. You rightly said that in this scenario where competency-based medical education have come up, so this is very important for the student for the formative assessment. They can they can get the feedback of their performance by using different apps. And with the use of MI, they can improve their comprehension skills. So they get the continuous feedback, and which is the most important part of our assessment, that the formative assessment. The assessment should be throughout the year, so in which the feedback is very, very important. Um, we all are using different tools for doing assessment, MCQ, SAQ, small answer questions. So we can use, we can make these questions better by the use of these AI-based softwares. But one limitation that I could found is the role of AI in assessment of affective domain, their communication skill, their attitude. This is, for my view, in my view, it's a little bit limited by the use of AI. So, thank you, madam. And I would like to congratulate her for organizing this wonderful CME and taking this step introducing this important topic in the Institute. Thank you. Yeah. Whole team.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you.
Any question? House is open for question.
Anyone from audience want to ask anything? Anyone from online audience? Any queries? Anyone want to ask? So we are very much thankful to our chairperson. First of all, we are thankful to our chairperson, Dr. Anupam Prashar ma'am, who has joined us online. And thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, Dr. Bhagyashri, and thank you to all of you, the whole Department of Anatomy, for organizing this wonderful CME. And the topic was really, really very important. And obviously, it has given us a lot of insights into the artificial intelligence also. Thank you so much. Thank you to the whole team.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Now I request Dr. Sanjay Sharma sir to kindly present appreciation to our chairperson, Dr. Sushila Rana ma'am. Dr. Monali Niwarkar. Dr. Monali Niwarkar to present token of appreciation to Dr. Deepti Chopra ma'am. Dr. Sushant Salup Das to present token of appreciation to Dr. Poonam Verma ma'am. And we present token of appreciation to Anupam ma'am. Ma'am, we will, whenever we will meet you, we will deliver token of appreciation to you. Thank you so much, ma'am. Now, with this, we come to conclusion of our scientific program. And I hope every one of you have enjoyed all the sessions. And now this is time for a vote of thanks. So I request Dr. Sanjay Sharma sir, Associate Professor in Department of Anatomy, to kindly come on the dais and deliver a vote of thanks to all. Thank you so much.
So, very good afternoon to all of you. I, Dr. Sanjay Sharma, on behalf of Department of Anatomy, Aiims Bilaspur, feel privileged to be able to present here to propose a vote of thanks and acknowledge the contribution of those who worked really hard to make this event possible. I extend my sincere thanks to the Almighty for making today's event a grand success. I want to extend my heartiest thanks to our Director Sir, Professor Dr. V.S. Negi, for his support. I extend a hearty vote of thanks to our Dean Sir for their support. I also want to thank all the chairpersons, Dr. Anupam Prashar, Dr. Deepti Chopra, Dr. Poonam Verma, Dr. Sushila Rana, for their participation in the event. You all truly made this day lightning for us. Your deep and intellectual way of imparting and sharing the session is good for us. I also want to extend thanks to all the speakers, Dr. Yogesh Sontake sir, Dr. Purit Goyal sir, Dr. Sajak Wal sir, Dr. Arnold Clarkson, who gave deep insight into the topics and revealed some interesting facts about the AI. An event like this cannot happen overnight. The wheels started rolling months ago. It requires planning and a bird's eye for detail. A special mention to our respected HOD ma'am, Dr. Nidhi Puri, for being the catalyst that stimulated us to do our best. Thank you, ma'am. We have been fortunate enough to be backed by a team of very proactive and dedicated faculty, Dr. Bhagyasri, Dr. Sachin Soni, Dr. Sushant Das, and Dr. Monali. I would like to thank all the respective representatives who have blessed us with their presence. I am thankful to all the staff for the efforts and arranging this function. I would like to thank the IT team for their full support throughout the event. I am gratified to all the delegates for joining this event via offline and online mode here and for their best wishes for this event. Last but not the least, a big thank you to each one of you who made the event memorable. Have a great day ahead. Now the stream is over. Thanks a lot.